You've reached the Union and Metro Street podcast, where we discuss the San Diego music scene of the late 80s and all of the 90s, from the shows we worked to the shows we played. Here we go.
All right, so that was the Calvins, and we're sitting here with them now. So let's just start over here and just everyone introduce themselves, and we'll just kind of run into it.
All right, my name's Don, and I'm the bass player.
I am Paul, a.k.a. Zop, lead vocals.
I am Calvin.
I'm Brian, the drummer, a.k.a. Pooney.
So that song's Runaway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to dive into this because, first of all, I'm sitting here listening to the song and I'm forgetting that we're going to sit here and talk because I just want to listen to more. When did you guys start? And let's start from that. And then we're going to do a deep dive. I want to know like all the roots of everything, but let's just do a quick, where did you start? And
so this lovely guy over here kept messing with me. Hey, we should jam. We should jam. This is what, like 99 maybe?
Yeah.
So, and then eventually we jammed. I want to say it was like maybe 2000, somewhere around there. Maybe 2001. Yeah. So finally called this bluff.
yeah.
Got in a room, literally wrote stuff down like intro, verse, chorus,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And then we got in, I think, a hourly studio somewhere, probably. And then,
El Cajon.
yeah, Superior Sound, where we're at now,
yeah.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And just literally pounded it out.
Yeah.
Put the time in and like song after song after song. And then we got 6 with this guy, the singer.
Yeah.
And did our first show at Joe and Andy's. 6 songs. Hello, goodbye, and that was it.
And they're all fairly quick songs.
Yeah, we kind of
Under 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 to 3 minutes. That's
Keeping it traditional.
yeah. You won't catch us with a 5-minute song.
Oh,
or,
so
or
no,
even a 4-minute song.
a legacy, like a 12-minute song. Like,
Nothing
like,
close.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
It doesn't work in the stuff. I mean, it's just when I hear it. To be honest, I just get giddy.
yeah. We're all.
I mean, this reminds me of roots of just like straight in your face rock and roll, punk rock. It's just like,
yeah. I mean, we all have influences that we pull from, but ultimately, what came out isn't like a,
contrived.
yeah. I don't think we
Right.
said I want to sound like this and this. It's just, yeah.
You just went in and just started playing.
That's how I feel. I don't know about these guys.
It's all
but-
based on a lick. Everybody
Yeah.
comes in with a lick, and we just go for it. And
Yeah.
with the bass stuff's there. The basic stuff's there. Where, he plays drums the way he plays drums. I play the way I play. He sings the way he plays, and he
Yeah.
plays bass the way he plays. But at the end of the day, that's that chemistry, sorta, whatever.
Right.
So where we all kind of think somewhat on the same line, to where we get there, and 90% of it gets kicked down the road, where we just throw it out. It's crap. But
Right.
So
There is an evolution, but it's usually just because we got a little better. So we're like, hey, maybe that song could use a little bit of this.
Oh yeah. I
Sprinkle
know what
this,
you mean.
sprinkle that. Yeah. But as far as like, hey, we want to sound like band X, Y, and Z, I know I don't do it. I don't think they do it either.
I do it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
laying in bed at night going, I want to sound like.
We actually try not to sound like everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. So with all the different influences, it just comes out organically and it comes out this way. Is there any sort of like rhyme or reason to lyrics, or is it just really what it sounds like? Because it just sounds like you just hang out and you have a riff, and then you just start working on it. You're like, oh fuck, this makes my feet move. Next thing you know, everyone just kind of comes in. So it's just completely organic.
Well, you got three lyric writers in this group.
Oh, okay.
You got the singer, you got the guitar player, Runaway. He wrote all those lyrics. You got me. I write sometimes. So,
Right.
That helps, I think to get the song from start to finish.
Right. So it's really just, it's the perfect way to do a band, realistically.
It's a democracy, I would say.
Yeah. So it's not ego driven.
No,
Definitely not.
no.
Okay.
I think if anyone says, hey, that doesn't really work. I know I'm not going home going, man, what the fuck? I'm like, that's cool. Yeah.
Someone else writes lyrics. I'm like, that's awesome. Great. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. Like, and if it's working, boom, that song's on its way.
Yeah. Because to me personally, it just sounds like you guys have been doing this since. I mean, we're going to go down into the roots. We're going down in the frickin' cellar soon. But it sounds like you guys have been playing, 20, 25, 30 years. It just it comes off. It's non-pretentious. It's not ego-driven. It's just some fucking fun rock and roll punk rock. And there's sitting with you, there's nothing contrived about it. So is that because of age? Because you're all at a point where it's like, okay, yeah, this is it, or you just kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
Let's
doing
just dive into the weeds.
a lot of nodding for sure. I mean, I know for me, it's I don't feel the competition. I don't feel like, hey, this band's doing this band's doing that. We should do it. I mean,
Right.
maybe a little bit on the marketing side, like, hey, that's a great idea.
Right,
Maybe we should throw our hat in that ring. But as far as the music goes, I personally feel like it's coming out one way or another. These guys are gonna,
our sound.
yeah.
Kind of have our sound. It's kind of a, it took a while to get to where, and we quit playing for a lot of years, but then we got back in and kind of revamped our sound a little bit. But
Okay.
for the most part, we I know what he's thinking, and I think he knows what I'm thinking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of, I would say like finishing each other's sentences type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I hear this. I hear what you're thinking. I could feel it. I think I know the next part coming up.
Yeah.
So that does help for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I can definitely relate with that.
Yeah.
So, well, when did you guys? Let's just start with you. When did you start playing music and like
Well, I got a
Dive
late
deep.
start. Yeah, so I got a late start, I feel. I didn't start playing drums till like 17 and a half.
Okay.
Was when I got my first kit, but I was inspired probably by all the death metal dungeon bands at Union Street.
Right.
A lot of my friends from high school played shows there, every time, there was a dungeon death metal show.
Yeah.
I had probably like 3 or 4 friends that were in 4 or 5 of the bands that used to play there pretty regularly. The only names I really remember are like Ex Carnatus, Cerebral Incarceration,
Right. Damnation.
there was like
Blackness.
Yeah, like a couple more that were kind of like on the like later fringe part of the of Union of the dungeon before it moved.
Right.
But yeah, like those guys that went to my high school, and I was like intimidated. I'm like, there's no way. I
Right.
can't go in there and do that. They're
Right.
playing like what 180 BPM or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I don't even have a drum set. So, but I was a fan, and that was my inspiration to finally go, all right, gonna get a kid after high school, gonna get in my room and just suck until I don't, and then
Right.
and then move on. So
Right.
when I met these guys, these two, I still wasn't confident. I was very like trapped in my own head, like, oh God, I suck. This is going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah. But I think the chemistry made it way more easy to just go, okay, we got something going on.
Right.
So just keep doing what you're doing. Let your playing evolve naturally, and you'll be
Right.
fine.
Right.
And that's basically my roots, is like, just get in there and suck until you don't.
Yeah.
Which I believe is a Dave Grohl quote. So,
Yeah. It's kind of that whole fake it till you make it thing. But
yeah.
but there was a determination there.
Yeah, because it was like, once you get started, it's kind of like a drug. You're like, well, shit, I've made it to this level.
Yeah.
Why am I going to stop now? That's stupid.
I
We
feel the
have
same
6
way.
songs. We played them at a bar. Why are we going to say? He was on the bar top screaming at everybody. I'm like, we made it. Now we just got to do it 6 more times.
What bar was this?
This was Joe and Andy's in La Mesa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which singer bartended there. I bartended there at one point. You took your clothes
banged on the
off there.
bartender.
No one lets him touch the money.
Yeah, don't let him touch the money. Yeah, you've been naked there at least
Yes.
12 times.
The stage was tiny, so I had to stand on the bar to sing because there was absolutely nowhere to stand. So
Yeah.
literally on the bar. Sometimes your ass would hit the tap and beer would start flowing.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
It reminds me a lot of the Velvet. Well, for me
Yeah,
personally,
same owners.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Andy at the Velvet, and then
Yeah.
Joe at Joe and Andy's.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, they bought the Velvet.
Yeah. God, that's a name I haven't heard. And was Andy was he the one that was married to Natasha?
I think so.
Okay, because Natasha lived down the street. So there's a lot of these, again, when we were talking about earlier, there's so much, what do you want to, proper
inner
grammar,
circle.
incestuous nature. But there's so many, in our scene, there's so many people that one way or another know, someone else. But the roots of where everything came from and how they come up is the one thing that doesn't really get talked about unless you become super famous and then you put out a book. So that's why I like to know the roots of like where everything gets started and bringing up Joe and Andy's. I mean, there's plenty of people that won't even remember that. And the funny thing is, that's the Velvet right over there.
Yeah.
So when I first going there with all the different iterations of the different clubs and everything, before I moved here, it was like, it would be a weird place to live. This would be so cool next to the bar. When it became, what was it at that point? Pirate's Den or something.
It was originally the Casbah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turned into something after the Velvet. And what was it? The Crowbar? Was it the Crowbar?
That sounds
That
familiar.
Might be
yeah.
right. That sounds right.
But one of the other iterations that it became, and I was living here, I went there a couple times and I did some plumbing work and I did some work for them. And I would go over there and drink whiskey, and I just thought, this isn't the same as back in the day.
Yeah.
It's not the same when I was standing out in front with, the spent idols and, it wasn't the same. But that place has been so many different bars, and it's, another thing that's been around the scene for so long. But it's the bands and the people and how they keep coming together and bringing it up. So let's see. When did you start playing guitar?
I think like 12.
Why?
So he had been in a ton of bands before we all met.
No,
and you guys, yeah.
Two.
Okay, that's a ton to me. So I was 12, played, folk songs and but loved like the Clash and Hendrix and,
Right.
I can't play like either one of them, but but just kept playing, was in a bunch of terrible bands in my teens and it was fun. We would do in high school, I went to Saints, so we would play shows all over this place where we're at right now. It was kind of fun. We were awful, but we just kept doing it. We'd do a bunch of covers and some originals and kind of like just kept, flowing into the next thing. And then another band would start 3 years later. And I was talking to you about John Arquella from Beta 7 and Bucko 9. So me and John Jackson were in a 3-piece band back in, I think, 89 or 90 maybe. And we were decent. John was a drummer at the time, John Arquella, and he was a good drummer. So we had fun, and we were just having a good time, and we'd play backyard parties, and I think we played a show with the Forbidden Pigs back in the day, and but we shouldn't have been there, but but it was cool, and then just kept playing, and then I think in my 20s, I was in a few different bands, and then I met this guy because I'm a little bit older than this guy, and then that's where it started. So we were into similar types of music and pretty diverse stuff, but he and I just hit it off, and his drum style, he had the chops, and I was like, cool, and locally there was a lot of good music going on in the 90s here locally too, so for sure. And so we were like, wow, let's kind of move through that maze a little bit. And we did, but we kind of, like I said, we just kind of started our own kind of gig and couldn't find a singer. So then hung out and drank a lot of beer with this guy. And anyway.
It should be noted that we did spend a lot of time with Paul in his van, listening to him drunk sing on many weekends to all the bands we love: Rocket, Fluff, who else?
Lucy's,
Dwarves, Super Suckers, the list goes on. I mean, and we all had that in common. We all loved those bands from the 90s, San Diego scene. That's what I think really kind of got us together. Like, hey, they're doing it. Why don't we give it a shot? We're a little late to the game, but who cares? So
and we couldn't find a singer. We had a different bass player at the time. It was back in the day, and it was Mike Carnevale. But so we were just sitting there, kind of going, okay, what's next? And so he wanted to sing, and we would hear
he didn't want to sing.
We would hear him sing. We're like, he's got a good grit to his voice,
right?
And then we had him sing "Flowers by the Door" by TSOL, right? That was your intro song. So he came out and sung. We learned flower. We already knew it. We sung "Flower." He sung "Flowers by the Door." Like, you're in. That's it.
Like, this is how old it was. I remember we worked together, so I remember bringing him a CD copy of the song, going, "Here, we know this. Now it's your turn to learn it, and then come in and then see what happens."
Right.
And
he wasn't nervous either. It was no big deal.
I was fucking frightened. I'd never been in a band before. Always liked the music, and drove everybody around in my van. We'd party hard and crank the tunes, and these guys were doing their thing, and they're like, hey, you want to sing for the band? I'm like, what, are you crazy? Literally, like, and I, for some reason I said, you know what, fuck it, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And so I showed up, and here we are.
So you never had any aspirations at all to...
Growing up as a kid, I would, in my room, sing.
Right, right.
Like, almost like lip sing.
Yeah.
But never thought I would ever be the singer of a band.
Really?
Yeah. Never.
That's crazy.
And we already had a ton of songs kind of done, and then once we got a singer, we kind of reworked them,
right?
To where we were like, okay, cool, because we were just flying blind, and then he came in, we're like, okay, cool, he's got a good grit, we liked his tone, and he could shake his ass, so we're like, you know what, this is going to be good.
You already had a van too, so that kind of helps.
I know, dude.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's like Chevy conversion van.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things. My guitarist Jules from Damnation, he had his van So, he could show up. He's, if he wanted to go on tour, just load up. And the drummer had his double kick and God knows what other things that he stole from Neil Peart because his drum set was huge. So then, when they're doing Damnation, they're this full metal band, but he's got the band, he's got the look. And then our bass player, Tony, this little guy, but just froey hair. I mean, they look so metal. And then Brian, our drummer, big guy. So I'm like, yeah, these guys are fucking metal. They got the van. They got it going. So we ended up talking and we did the band Pour with me singing, which was, man, that was quite an experiment. But there's so many things when you're trying to figure out a band as a kid that you have, the little things you have to check off. Do they have the look or do we care about the look? Is he prettier than my mom? You got to go through all the little things as you're growing up. And for me growing up, I still find it amazing what other people went through because I started off trying to be a guitarist to please my dad, basically. And all he cared about was drawing things with eyes hanging out and riding my skateboard. And I got a D in guitar class. And then so later when I got older, I realized I couldn't play the guitar worth a shit. So I started playing the bass. But I started playing it kind of like I would play a guitar. And then vocals came in because I couldn't play anything, but I wanted to be up there and I just had something else to say. But I didn't really want to do it. So I like finding the dynamics of bands and, it's really curious when you go from an idea to writing songs. But if so many bands, I've been in so many different projects. If you find the right people and things just fall in place, then, you're like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do vocals. And now I'm listening and going, God, you're more seasoned than I am. Your vocals sound better than mine, and I've tried all these different styles. So I find it absolutely just fascinating, the roots. And we're gonna go into the roots of the rest of the scene and everything in a minute. But why'd you start playing the bass? Let's get the...
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I don't know how much I should divulge because it doesn't linearly make sense. But when Kurt Cobain died, I was like, oh, shit, I should go buy an instrument. I didn't even know the difference between a bass and a guitar. I just went down to Freedom and I was just looking around, and for some reason bass it was bigger, it looked easier.
Yeah.
And I know Kurt Cobain wasn't a bass player, but for some reason it just hit me, oh shit, I'm going to the store and I'm going to buy an instrument. And I did, figured it out, and then just started playing right away and started writing songs, and I haven't stopped since I was 20.
So you just picked right into it and just...
Yeah, and I really felt like, it was like so natural to me. It came, and then all of a sudden, I started realizing all of the music I listened to, Jane's Addiction and Faith No More and all these things that I liked. I was like, oh crap, there's a lot of bass in that. Oh man, and there were so many things like, oh man, I've been hearing this sound my entire life, but not knowing what that sound was. And then now I could make that sound, and it just started me on the path that I still continue to walk on.
That is crazy. So how did you end up in the band?
So it was kind of a weird thing because, again, we all hung out at this place, Joe and Andy's. Joe and Andy's going to come up a lot today. Every person I know is because I happened to walk into that bar to see this band called Pure Milk back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So I was friends with those guys, and, that I fell in love with Mesa. I moved to La Mesa, and just my whole thing and all my friend group. And so anyway, I was in a band that actually ran the open mic night there. And so the drummer and I would go, and we'd have people come up. And Kevin was one of the guys that came up, and we jammed and started to get to know him a little bit. And then we actually played with them for their first show. And so that was like probably 2002, I think. And then about 3 years later, there was some kind of thing. I wasn't that close with them. There was some kind of thing happened where they needed a bass player. And so that we were all at this party, and they're like, do you know a bass player? And my girlfriend, who's my wife now, was like, I know one, because I didn't realize that I was being propositioned. I thought we were having a conversation. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I'll come and see what happens. We used to practice at Kevin's house, and, I'd always been into punk rock music, and it seemed to be a good fit, and they already had something going. So I was like, glad to be able to step into a position where they already kind of had things going, so
Right,
I didn't
right.
have to start it. So in my other band, I'm the principal songwriter, the vocalist, so I was glad to be in this situation where these guys already had their stuff together. I just had to learn what they're doing and put my flair on it. And here we are 20 years later, still doing it.
So it just came like naturally because seems like you already had kind of had the sensation of playing and just all those
Right.
with the savant things, which I don't have because I'm still trying to learn how to play the bass.
Yeah.
Was it easy to like just
It
come
came
in and
rather naturally because I've always been into Descendants and that kind of music, and so I really know what they were wanting. I just came in and did what I do, and
Right.
it seemed to fit. I just had to figure out how to play as fast as humanly possible because I don't use a pick, and so it was like, good Lord! Like I remember coming home the first few practices, like, man, I did not know my fingers could go that fast.
yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing. And then, just trying to get my brain to work that way because my other band is kind of prog. And so it was trying to, I literally can't think that fast. I have to like, and it has to be that way. And so I don't have time to think about what I'm doing, which works out a lot better because I can't. Well, did I leave the iron on? I don't have that luxury.
And I know how it is there. And speaking of me being a bass player, I found that, if you go from transitioning to playing something that you're really, in your comfort zone to playing something new, you work in new calluses. So how many days did you go home with bloody fingertips?
20 years. I still got one from our show last Saturday. I was like, yeah, no, that's the one thing I can't quite get my mind around, how it still hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not getting better. I just get used to it, but yeah.
That's a good point. It does still hurt. It
Yeah.
hurts way more now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to hit as hard as I did back in 2003, 4, 5. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I get off stage, especially if we do a Ken Club show, I am like a wet rat.
Yeah.
I have to get ice or some area of cooling. I got to get out of there because there's no ventilation in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
way
know.
overheated. I'm probably already dehydrated, even though I've been drinking water the entire 30 minutes we've been playing. But I get it. It continues to hurt.
Yeah.
But we love it, so we keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I get the same thing as if I get into one of my good stances to play so I can start moving my feet and dancing, I start feeling my knee and then I start concentrating on that and then my ankle and it's like, oh yeah, I'm old. They're going to hurt and they're going to continue to hurt. But I gotta do my thing.
Yeah.
And I because bass players, I kind of have calluses still, but they're not, it's not leather again.
Right.
And to be able to play what we'd like to play, I need leather on my fingertips. And then I go to work and I do my thing and I'm, with landscaping. So I'd start rubbing them off. And especially when I was doing tile, I'd rub them off and then I'd play a show and then they're blistering. It's all for the love of playing. But, at this point, it's kind of like you can't just quit.
No.
And, when you're that good, I don't want to throw it on your shoulders, but I'm going to. I mean, you guys are just killing it up there. Again, it's just,
Thanks.
I'm becoming a sycophant, but yeah, it is what it is. I really just enjoy what you're doing. So what, how many albums and where are you at right now as far as your discography?
I think we have one full length album and 2 EPs.
Are they out on vinyl or?
No, they're digitally you can get them.
Yeah.
They're on Bandcamp or Spotify or you name it. All the
Apple
major
Music.
digital platforms.
Yeah.
I think even the EP is on YouTube as well, like 3 separate songs.
Yeah, and I think I was doing some research on there. This is the question because I didn't talk about it with Clint. As when we were talking with him earlier, I've never gotten any vinyl. One of my things is I want my own music on vinyl. I've got CDs, I got tapes. There's digital stuff, but you guys ever want to do vinyl, or are you ready to go through that process because it's
really
so
expensive.
backed up right now?
Yeah, it's backed up. It's expensive. There's minimum quantities that make it maybe not so like economically viable.
Right.
We did a run of 50 CDs for the EP, the newest one, and those went pretty quick, but we didn't really sell them. It was more like a business card, like, hey, if you don't want to go on Spotify or whatever, then here, check this out. And we did some cool artwork and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of actually doing another run of those because I think a lot of people would still just grab them at shows.
Oh, yeah.
But we also do a little business card that has the link to all the digital
barcode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a little QR code you could scan and it'll go to a link to all the streaming platforms and whatnot. But that's another thing. You kind of have to change with the times or you're going to be spending a lot of money.
Well, that's one of the things that mystifies me is, how can you make it? You making decent money doing a show or?
No. We'd rather play.
We got paid once.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
We got paid more than once, but we got paid the most.
I was only told we got paid once.
No. Well,
in the history,
$50.
Yeah, we've been paid $50 and $200. So,
wow.
Yeah,
we just did a really
cash.
cool show at the Ken with Daikaiju, and that was like a big draw. We were just a supporting act, and
Right.
so we got a pretty good chunk from
We
that.
don't play for money. If there's a draw at the door, we don't. Anyone that shows up to see us, it's free because we're not gonna. That's kind of our thing. Let's just get it out there, have fun, but we don't charge.
Yeah.
So
The goal now is to just play to people that haven't seen us before.
and for free alcohol too.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they're still stingy on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the one thing they're the most stingy on nowadays.
You get 2 drink tickets. You're like, really? That's it?
$2.
Yeah.
beers?
Really? Yeah.
That's how it is.
We are
Yeah.
appreciative of the drink tickets.
But we'll take it.
That's how it
We'll
is.
take whatever we can get.
With the touring bands too, they give you 2 drink
Nothing,
tickets
yeah.
across the U.S. So
Really?
it's like,
Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah.
I mean, maybe give you a case of beer or whatever, but yeah, the 2 drink tickets.
That'd be nice.
I think that's standard.
Yeah, well, I don't know that anybody really wants to have to deal with an angry drunk musician.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can go into
Unfortunately,
that.
some of us
'cause-
give our
Don, that's not true. I'm kidding.
some of us give ourselves a bad name.
Well, fun fact, we've actually never done a tour.
Really?
We've only played San Diego.
You haven't done L.A. or
Nata. So
Yeah.
we've been talking about some stuff. Actually, right before COVID, we had a mini tour of Reno, Humboldt, Tahoe, maybe Orange County. Just a friend was kind of talking with us and said, hey, I could help you guys out, book, 5 or 6 venues in NorCal. And, maybe you guys can figure something else out, on your way back down. And then COVID hit. So we're like, well, that was scrapped. So
Yeah, and it's basically at this point, it's going on 3 years of putting the kibosh on a lot of things. Well, we Jerry and I have had struggles because we got some projects we're working on, but even being able to do events has been weird.
yeah.
Like the one that when you guys played with John up at the brewery, and we were trying to do the podcast there, and it's just weird now that it seems like everything's shifting to breweries and a completely different style of doing shows than the pre-COVID sort of thing. I mean, there's still the bars, but I kind of like these. They kind of make them more festival, in all age, but you can drink. It's a different environment.
Well, it's weird because did you ever grow up thinking you'd be at an all ages show at a brewery? I know I didn't.
Yeah.
or even it's kind of like playing a restaurant if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was doing Since in '77, we played Tio Leo's, and oh god, this was before my wife and I. Well, it was probably 2000 or 2001, and that was kind of weird because the half of it. Well, this is still when it was inside. So the one half was the bar where they had it all set up, and it was kind of like a club, and it was pretty cool. And the guys at Deadbolt came out to support us. But then the other side is the restaurant where I used to take dates. And I knew about it because, I was over at Soma, so I could, it's a fancy place, and they'll allow me here because I'm turned from Soma, But now it's like these breweries. As a kid, I never even thought I would be in a brewery.
Yeah.
You know,
well, they weren't even
But
really
it
a
wasn't
thing.
even a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I going to go up to, the Great White North?
Right.
No,
Hey, as a side note, though, with the Tio Leo's, they used to cater our New Year's Eve shows. So all the food that we served at the New Year's Eve
At Soma?
at the sports arena,
We did
those
show
big-
the sports arena.
Oh, no
we did
kidding.
those
Yeah,
20,
yeah.
20 bands.
Yeah, yep.
Tio Leo's would
I remember
cater
those.
that.
Yeah, yep. That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, speaking of Tio Leo's, I think I've been to many a swing show there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a pretty
Buddy
good
Blue
swing
and-
crowd
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, and then it's we've told this story before, but we would take bands if they wanted to use a shitter, a clean one, because I knew the guy cleaning the toilets at our place, and so we would take them over to Tio Leo's. So like Ian, didn't you take Ian? I know we've told this
You
story.
took Ian.
I took Ian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Who? God, I can't remember. There's so
That
many.
was a
but it was,
Fugazi
you
tour?
know,
Fugazi
Yeah.
tour? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was at that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
it was a
great-
clean toilet, So I don't want Ian crapping on a thing that I just cleaned an hour before.
I mean, he's the godfather of the hardcore movement, right?
Yeah.
So at least the East Coast
Yeah.
godfather.
Yeah.
But that was as close to something like the oh god, I can't remember the place that we were just at when we did everything. Evolution. But is that you guys notice how the scene has changed, being our age? Do you think it's like going a better direction? Is it bringing more people in? Is it a different audience, or what are your thoughts of this? Because again, as we were talking about, back in the day, you put out a tape and then you put out vinyl, and then eventually CDs came and made it a little bit easier. But now everything's just live streaming. It's so much easier, so much more accessible, and now even the shows are different. So, are you finding anything, personal thoughts, sort of?
I have thoughts, but I'll let somebody else go if they want to go before me. But
Yeah, so I think what's going on right now, a lot of it's not good, because it's all a lot of it. We were listening to a recording of one of our friends' bands on the way down here and it's a lot of it's just the same stuff, and it sucks. So kind of keeps us kind of going in the other direction, but
Right.
And then there's a lot of it's kind of neat. You said the younger scene with the breweries, and there's a lot of young kids out there, and they still love what we loved when we were their age, which is cool. But a lot of the music is real bubblegum, and that's not good. But then you'll hear occasionally you'll walk into a bar and you'll hear some band, and maybe they're from here, maybe they're not. That's doing something different. So we're trying to grab that a little bit and run with it and keep it edgy. But there's a lot of stuff that's not good in my opinion. So
Well, you gotta remember too. We're older now, and our parents didn't like our music, so we're kind of the parents now.
Yeah,
we don't
right.
like the kids' music.
Well, that's the other thing too that I've noticed. Two things really quick. Number one, about that show that we were at, I was really energized by the young people that were there. I thought it was cool, and in that aspect, I think it's cool that this can kind of happen because there are a small fraction of younger people that don't even know anything about heavy music, and they seem to like it. Especially when we played the North County, it would seem like, wow, these kids really like it, and just the energy of them being there, where we're used to people just kind of standing there. I mean, not when we're playing, but the other aspect that's kind of been, and I don't know if it's the age thing so much, but when we were starting out, headlining the show was midnight, and that was what you look forward to. And now we all want to play at 9. So it's kind of funny because when we originally started, it seemed more like we're just throwing a party. The fact that we're playing is a party, and all of our friends came, and now it's kind of like Brian was saying earlier, trying to get to play to other people because our friends don't want to be out late anymore. And even with Clint and some of the other people that are all in the same peer group, we don't want to be out at midnight. We still want to play, and we still want to, so it's kind of this weird thing that's going on between, I think Kevin was more talking about the music scene, but just the playing scene just seems to be so different now. Everyone's vying for 9, and or else they're not going to be playing to anybody.
First or
When
second.
we played Daikaiju, that was the first time where I was like, oh crap, there is a lot of people here at 12:30. And they were all similar age, but I was like, okay, now that's a band that can play whenever they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was just shocked that we played one with lower class brats, and it was a similar kind of thing. But those people didn't even want to come in. They were all sitting outside drinking water and stuff. And then when the band they wanted to see it come, they all went inside. But it's kind of a weird thing to have this shift, because again, I've been active since the 90s, and it's just so weird now. People are like, I don't know, are they the headliner? Like, that's a conversation now. It's like, who's the headliner? I don't know. It's like, because it used to be whoever was playing last of the headliner. Now it's like you got to find some chump band to play last because nobody wants to.
Well, and they're out there too.
You even have co-headlining too. It's like I just did a tour with Bucko 9 and Mustard Plug, and we would flip spots depending on where we're playing. So because Mustard Plug would have a larger crowd in another state, so there'd be those people that wanted to see them. So of course they're going to stick around. And then obviously San Diego for Bucko 9, we played the Soda Bar, it was sold out. Yeah. So of course they're going to headline. So it was we kind of rotated everywhere we played. So
yeah, my comments are a little bit different. My comments are more towards like the younger generation that's coming up now. Like I have a 16-year-old daughter, so I'm kind of privy to some of the music scene stuff, and she goes to the new Soma, and I've been there a few times, and it seems like it's, business as usual.
Yeah, corporate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, get in.
It is now.
Well, what I think is probably more of a shame is the full-blown, like, really obvious pat down, and just the way to get in there. But once they're in there, it was like reminded me more of like the other venues,
But that's probably also a sign of the times having to do the pat downs.
True. Yeah. I think you have to.
But he's definitely more in touch with what's going on out there now. So for me, everything's black and white. Let's do our t-shirts black and white. So he comes in with a whole different thing where I'm going, wow, and
but that's
it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing because I'm out of touch to some degree, but I still love the old school, artwork and stuff. And he comes in with all these different, it's more colorful, which is not bad. It's a good thing. Our shirts and
I want to grab.
He's trying to grab different. Yeah.
Oh, it works.
Yeah. It's and he understands that because he's got a daughter that's into like very cool stuff.
What I've noticed is like it feels like, especially through her eyes, that the scene is kind of reverting back to the way it was when we were there, like more DIY. Right. Like she's cutting up sweaters and shit, and she's making her own clothes. We're going thrifting a lot, and like that's cool,
And at 16, because my daughter's 22.
Yeah, and she's going to like shows under a freeway, generator shows. Yeah. There's shows out in the desert and stuff like that. I'm like, you're not going to the fucking desert. Are you crazy? But like,
is your daughter doing the similar stuff? Like she's 22, obviously she's still older, but is she out doing the shows thing or
no? She's. I mean. It's my daughter, so if she wants to go see a show, it's either with mom. They went to see Dolly Rots, but she's like, "Fuck, I got it all here. They'll come to the house." But she's also not. She's not that outgoing. She's got her two really tight knit friends, and they hang here. This is just kind of like a safe haven, and because of COVID and everything's gotten weird. They'll go out every now and again. And she's heavily into music. She's talented. She's a talented artist. I can definitely see with the kids that I work with, that I mentor, the Magnol Company, they're doing shows. Some of the kids were at that event, and it is different. It's getting back to DIY. But it's not the punk rock. When I was wearing this beanie back, booking shows with my mohawk back then, I didn't think I'd be wearing it now, but it's part of a nostalgia thing, so I like wearing it. The kids nowadays, to be punk rock, it's finally gotten to a point where it's more DIY and individual. They're not going to claim onto something. But they have a lot of the attitude of wanting to do these shows and do something about art, and I'm really pushing to do more art, to be more involved, and there's so much talent out there and they're figuring it out, but they need old people like me to kind of lead them the way to find out on their own. I mean, Magnol companies, they've incorporated themselves.
I disagree. I don't think these kids need us at all. They're out there they're doing it. They maybe saw the scene at some point and were like, hey, we could do this too. And then for me personally, I just feel like, we're never going to break into this scene.
Yeah.
whatever these like Mouth Guard, all these other bands that are kind of just doing their thing, they're of that age.
You know what the difference is now? Back in the 90s when we were doing music, there was a music business. There was an industry. There's that's all gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's right here with their phones. Oh, I'm on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
So, that whole concept and us, our ages, we don't get that.
No.
We're old school.
Right. In my mind, I was like, we're going to work our asses off and hopefully play like Casbah opening up for Lucy's or Rocket. Like, that's what I want to do. And now I'm like, fuck, maybe we should find these teenagers and try to do a fucking Generator show. Like, what's up?
Well, that's one of the things that I've been working on with them. And actually, John's
great,
the
by the way.
The kids and I, we're talking about, we're banding about, I like using that word, something about it, banding about, what am I, freaking Australian? But we're talking about, I want to do something with you guys and with them.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to figure out where, Jerry and I, like I said earlier, we have a project, a pretty big project that we're working on. And it's just a matter of finding, I don't know, it's almost, because we are older, it's finding the right movement and trying to get, and I'm not talking about a bowel movement. I'm just trying to, to
we're
get
looking
people.
for those too.
Fiber. No, but to be able to get enough people together and focused in on something, and, we still have to, we're all adults and we have, lives, we have families and we have things going on. But to be able to push towards something, and I think we have to bring the youth into it.
You have to.
So
they're here.
But the kids are already doing a pretty good job. There's a lot of small scenes. It's to be able to. Here's a good question. If coming in and working with those kids, do you feel like you should try to impress them somehow, or you just sort of slide in like
just do what we do? They do what they do. If it's a shit show, it's a shit show. If it's great, it's great. Like that's. I couldn't think of anything more organic than that.
But seeing your daughter, like going to those summer shows, did it bring back those memories from the 90s? Like going to Metro?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I felt great. I was like, this is cool for her. She's fucking in the middle of the pit the entire time.
So you
I'm
felt
in
that
the back.
vibe, like the scene.
Oh,
is
yeah.
The actual, there's a scene, but the new Soma, they're not doing local bands anymore because it's Live Nation that owns it.
Right. So yeah, when I went there, it was Sad Park, which I think is L.A. Together Pangea, I think they're also L.A.
Bands I've never heard of.
Together Pangea is awesome. You should check them out. Sad Park, they're okay, but again, I think these kids, they're not. I mean, yeah, you're gonna probably have some hardcore punkers like we had in our day, and they follow that genre. But I think now, like it's they're doing everything.
Yeah,
it's alternatives,
it's
big,
more inclusive.
Like, chill music, surf music is totally back. Like Surf Curse, they're awesome. Like my daughter's just given me so many bands to check out, and I'm like, this is so simple and cool. This is why they're doing it. It's a drummer and a guitar player.
Yeah,
and they're killing it.
Yeah,
but yeah. So
going back to something that you kind of touched on, I will say that I thought that it was mutual, maybe not, but when we were playing with those young kids, we definitely, I think, had a feeling we're going to show them how it goes. Like there was not, just let them know the old school or the roots. There was something, and I'm sure we're all confident enough that when people see us playing, we know that they're seeing something that they haven't seen in a while, at least.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some level of impression that goes on anyway. But there was definitely, when we were playing with these little kids at the skate park, there's definitely some like, okay, let's show them how it's done.
Yeah. Well, that was a little different for sure, but
because you guys are polished, you guys have that stage presence where, with a lot of these other bands, they just don't have it. So you come out and you just like punch it,
Trying to be like a machine. We want to blow your face off a little bit, and some. I think we get it most of the time.
Yeah,
trying to do the thing that drove us to like that music.
Yeah,
show them that raw, like fucking look at us.
It's that energy,
fucking in your face.
Yeah, you can be polished and still be a little bit like, holy shit, are they going to make it through the song? Like that's kind of the whole vibe I've always wanted to pull off. Like, hey, they may not make it, but then they do, and you're like, all right, killer, they made it.
That old man didn't die.
Well, not even. Yeah,
that would be me. Yeah. That's kind of realistic when I think of my cockroach performances. That's kind of like, oh my God, he didn't die. Wow.
That's good
Fuck, they're
stuff.
going to do another one.
Yeah.
How
This
they
is
doing
gonna be
another
it.
one? This will
28
be the
minutes,
one.
man. We do 28 minutes.
Yeah,
and
28 minutes.
After that, it's like no more. We did an encore last Friday night, and I was like, oh God, I
You're
just
at
wanna be
33
done.
minutes just going, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yes, yeah. That was my, yeah.
I think the debate to do the encore was longer than the song. But we did it, so that was good.
Yeah, we should definitely hook up and do a something with, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Did any of you guys know that Smashing Pumpkins show at Metro
No,
in
which
the 90s?
I don't know. I'd have to look at ticket
They did.
stubs.
They
I
did
don't remember.
3 hours.
Yeah, so how did they
No,
do
probably
that?
wasn't.
No
man?
opening.
I don't remember.
I
that.
saw him down at about 2 years ago, right before COVID. Right before COVID, I saw him down at Sleep Train, whatever it is now. But man, and they were good. But I think they were an hour and a half, and they were phenomenal. But 3 hours, GNR's doing like 3 hour shows now, and they're in their 60s, right? So
Yeah.
it's nuts, man. So 28 minutes is like tops for us.
They don't
Yeah.
play as fast as us.
Definitely not.
But a lot of that too, when you get to that age and that's all you're doing, that's all you have to worry about,
Yeah.
So you can work for
True.
3 hours
Yeah.
and then sleep and, because you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
everyone doing, when you're at that level, I was just talking with Mike Spen about it the other day. It's when you reach a certain level, your people do all your work. So to even get a hold of someone, you may have been friends forever, but once someone gets into that millionaire and then to the billionaire, it's like you can send them a text and they're going to go, is my phone ringing? Would you people look at it? And then 5 people are going to look at it, and by the time it gets to you, it's like, oh, it's time to go to bed.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Oh, sir,
any-
your mom called. she's dying. Okay, we'll have someone send her a message.
I couldn't imagine any of us prima donnaing that much. To be
And we all
honest.
work full time, right? So
Yeah.
But even if we had the money,
Pretty
I don't
much.
think any of us would
Sorry,
trust anyone else to
Yeah.
set anything up. I know I wouldn't. I don't think you would. No. I mean, we would probably show up for sound check if we absolutely had to not touch our stuff
Right.
to set it up. But that's such a foreign idea. That
So, then let's go with that. With the idea of, say you guys get picked up and you're just making corn money, not even Green Day, Blink 182 money. And then you have people, you have a crew setting up your stage. I know how I feel about it, but I want to find out from Brian. Let's just start with you. Can you imagine someone going and setting up your drums?
no, I'd probably still want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
or at
there's-
least watch the guy.
There's something about it. I mean, it's your fucking drums.
Yeah,
I mean, you can put them there for me, but cool.
Yeah, call it a control issue, call it whatever. I want to know when I hit that first fucking whatever, snare, bass drum, hi-hat, I know it's not going to fall over,
Right.
which I will say one point, which is the main reason why I hate doing backlines. I'm usually like, no, I'll fucking just tear that shit down. I'll put mine up.
Yeah.
I spent all the money for it. I might as well play it. It sounds great. I know it's going to be good. And then move on.
Yeah.
So-
Could you bring in your own snare and set up on someone else's? And
I've
'cause
done
I've
it.
done that before.
I've done it, and it's something usually breaks.
Yeah.
Or falls.
Or
in
is
a
out of
song.
tune.
Or whatever, yeah.
So if you had to fly to do a show, you'd bring your whole kit with you.
Probably not. But I would.
You're
I
gonna
would.
be backlining.
Yeah, I would be backlining, but I would probably be spending some good time tuning.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
right.
fucking with it.
Getting everything adjusted
just-
the way you want it.
exactly. I wouldn't trust some other guy. Like,
Because I was a drum tech at one point, so I used to set somebody's kit up, and it was
I don't trust you. I could tell.
it was no, I had it down.
Sound like my
I
wife.
believe
I
it.
totally
No,
had it down.
I believe you would. Yeah. No, I think it's a muscle memory thing. You can get
Yeah.
it set up pretty easily, and but like I said, it's just a foreign thing. I don't feel like we'd ever get there. I mean, randomly, if we did, that'd be great.
But some people just don't want anybody touching their gear.
Yeah. That's kind of where
I'm not that
at.
protective.
It's a trust thing.
Yeah, it would take some time to be like, okay, cool, you can do it. But like, yeah, most of these shows that we're going to, oh, we got a kit. And like,
No.
I know what kit you got.
Yeah.
It's not
and
my
I've
kit.
got a niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about stringing guitars?
He needs one. He needs someone to help him, I think. I never change my strings.
Someone that has battery.
No, so I basically, bottom line is I always string up new strings before every show, whatever.
Right.
And I bought a new freaking Les Paul, and it had never been played before, so I'd start playing, and I took it in to have it this thing's perfect. So it took about literally like 5 months of playing this thing to where the thing had, and this is an old, it's not that old, but it's old enough to where somebody should have played the damn thing.
Right.
And I have a stack of Gibsons, and that's my guitar, and I've got, some good stuff, but so it's like, man, this is my dream guitar. So it took about literally 4, 5, 6 months for this thing actually to like play the way I wanted it to play, and took it to all these people that like, this thing's perfect. And I play pretty heavy strings, and man, and that neck finally settled, so it sounds great, but I probably shouldn't have played it for 5 or 6 months. But truthfully, I played 2 different cabs, 2 different heads, 50 watt tubes, and I have them dialed in. One goes through a bass cab, the other one's just a Ford Celestion cab, and it's just got that sound. So,
well, it's one right now.
Yeah. Well, I only have one speaker left because Daikachu or whatever blew. I loaned them my cabinet. They blew all my speakers, but no big deal.
Totally worth it.
So, but even last Friday I played with one in the 4, Celestion cab, and then I played through a custom old school tuck and roll bass cab, and it gives it that bottom end. But if somebody doesn't, I've been playing like that for years through an AB box, and it gives it that kind of a pretty good sound. But if somebody didn't know what I was doing, they would screw it up. So I'm pretty, I had to mark all my knobs, and I'm being funny, but if it's one little thing,
I can do the same thing. Yeah. My amp, if you look at my amp, you can tell by different bands. Sinson 77 had one marking.
Yep.
Urine had another marking. And then Sinson, I didn't use my Ibanez bass, and I didn't use distortion pedal. I used my PV Patriot, and it was a lot cleaner, and just, it had to be perfect. But then it also matters on the room. And as far as string, in my Ibanez, I have EMGs, so I have to change out the battery every now and again. And if it starts to go, I can hear it. And for me, someone could kind of set everything up. I mean, they can bring it in there and put a skull on my amp or something. All right, cool. Now get the fuck away. Because I have to feel the room.
Yep.
I want to hear it in sound check. I want to hear where everything's bouncing from. And it's I would like to have people do everything for me.
But your sound, and you feel it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on what band I'm in, too. And it also, there's things, as you guys both know this, even with the drums, if you're in a dry area, if you're in the desert, or if you're in a humid room, that's going to affect everything. If it's a really vast room with tall ceilings, or a small, cozy room, you got to kind of mess with things.
If we're playing in the desert, then I'm bringing a Thrasher kit, one that I won't have covers or bags for. I'm just throwing it in a truck and going or whatever.
Yeah,
but the main kit I play, I paid too much.
I couldn't play through somebody else's rig ever. We would practice at a studio out in Santee for a while, and the guy had the killer setup, and it really was never my sound, but I dealt with it because we were, it kind of worked, and he didn't want my stuff in there anyway, and it worked. And even recording, sometimes they can try to get your sound sort of, but the last time we recorded, I went through my stuff, but I wouldn't feel comfortable playing live, going through somebody else's, even if it were the same 50 watt, blah, blah, blah. Your sound's your sound, right? My sound's my sound.
Yeah.
So, and we kind of perfected that sort of, I can kind of read his mind on drums a lot, Brian's mind. So I kind of, we just play off each other in the ping and the chops. And that's how we write our music too. So it's pretty much goes hand in hand with, that's your sound. Your sound's your sound.
Yeah,
you guys know, but that's for me, that's like, yeah.
What about vocal wise? If you come in, can you hear when something's off in the band, or someone's out of tune, or
mic stand?
We play all these local bars, right? So the sound systems are they're all over the place. Half the times the monitors don't work.
Right.
So I'm usually just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, tonight sucks. I can barely hear shit. Or, oh shit, I can fucking hear myself. That's fucking amazing. This is great.
And then there's
the rare one.
Yeah.
Where I can actually really hear myself.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking rare.
Do you bring your own mic?
I actually bring my own mic, but just not for a sound thing. It's just more of a, and I'm not like a germaphobe, but I'm like, I have a mic. I don't know if they're cleaning the shit. And anyone that's been a singer, you're spitting all over the fucking place.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, let me just read my own shit, so I don't have to fucking deal with it. So I usually roll in with it in my back pocket, and then it's set up, and I just go, oh, here, you can have your mic.
And he'll
I
help
plug
us
mine
set
in.
up once in a while, too.
Yeah,
when he
always
feels
helps.
like it.
Yeah, I'm like the roadie because I got the easy job, right? I just have my mic.
What a sweetheart. Always helping. I always feel bad. I'm like, no, don't care it. I got it. It's cool.
Yeah.
But he always helps. Yeah.
I think this is a sign of age too, because when I was younger, I wanted freaking people to do more and help out, and I always admired roadies coming in and setting everything up, but then as the band started getting bigger and bigger, and then you have a whole crew. This is one of the things I've never understand. At the new Soma, someone like Smashing Pumpkins, they come in. Granted, their sound guy and everyone, their crew, could probably do the whole set. But to me, that just seems so far removed, and that's when it got into a level where I'm like, well, this just doesn't. I don't know if could put up with this. But we would have, well, depending on who was coming through with who, you might not even see a band member until they go on stage, because their crew will come set everything up. They do all the line when bands will bring in their own sound. So then there's like some new semi in the back of the club, and I'm going, what the fuck is that? Oh. So they're bringing their own sound systems to their own monitor system, and then they're, some lighting rig. Maybe not all of it comes into the club.
There's no room for most of it.
Yeah. And they're looking at the club going, this is it? Yeah, it was in the fucking rider, you piece of shit. You knew, oh, that's right, your management didn't tell you, whatever. But, I'm personally, I'm really, it's that DIY ethic. I got to have my hand on everything, and that's the way that we would run our shows.
See, that was what was weird too. Is local bands come in, did their thing, and then some of these local bands became huge, and then they had their crew. So it was just weird watching that transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Metro sound system, you could tell when a different company came in for a band. I remember seeing randomly Silverchair there, and that sound was awesome. And I was like, why can't it always sound like this in here?
I think that was probably had their own sound.
I think so.
I don't think that was industrial, but the industrial sound was our main sound company, and they did. I think they did Warped Tour, if I can remember.
That wasn't Rat sound.
I don't know.
No, I think they did. Oh, God, we seriously.
Actually, industrial worked for Bad Religion, so I think they went out with Bad Religion.
Yeah,
I can't think of a bad sound show at Metro though, because I think most of them are pretty good. I saw Hole there, Sublime, pretty much.
That was all industrial.
Yeah, anything in like the probably like 90, whenever Metro started, 94 was it?
Yeah, late 94.
Yeah, to like I don't know, probably 98 even. I was
so 98 was Rat.
Oh, okay.
We actually, when Golden Voice took it over, Rat came in, they installed a sound system, because industrial, we had to load that in and load it out after every show.
Oh, shit.
So it was a lot of work.
That is a lot of work, yeah.
Yep. We built the sound pretty much on a Friday, we built it, and on a Saturday midnight, we'd tear it down.
So have you been to the new Soma at Sports Arena?
Well, he's he's the one that built it. Him and Scott from Blink are the ones that built the originally.
So the side stage at the new one is bigger than the main stage at Metro, right?
No.
Oh, pretty close?
No, the side stage at the new one holds 500. The main stage at Metro held 1375.
Oh, sheesh.
Wow.
So the new Soma, the main stage was 2500.
Damn.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is now the new Soma's been around longer than a Union and Metro put together.
Wow.
So October of this year, it hit its 20-year mark, because we opened the new one October, I think it was like October 20th of 2002.
Okay.
And our first show there was our first main stage show. The headliner was the Vandals
Fun show.
with Audio Karate and Tsunami Bomb. I can't remember what we had a local on there. Might have been Hornswoggle or somebody.
Yeah, because I didn't even show my face there. I was afraid of being run off until I guess it was the Queen show
Yeah, you came for the
when I came to see Queens of the Stone Age, and I was nervous as hell until I seen Jerry was there. I'm like, okay, because it just.
I saw
we
your,
talked about
I saw
it
your
before.
backstage pass on the refrigerator.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I kept that one. I've got that one, and we were talking about earlier too. Megadeth made us wear. I had to wear a backstage pass at Metro for Megadeth, even though I'm really the only one that's supposed to be back there besides Len. But I had to wear a fucking pass because they didn't know who I was.
Oh wow.
But hey,
Was that
As
Queen
Megadeth.
show before or after they played the Casbah? Because we saw him at the Casbah Queen.
We saw him at the Casbah, and we also sat on top of my van and watched him at Tower Records right there.
Oh yeah.
oh
perform.
wow,
So I was wondering if that Tower Records show was before
The Soma.
the Soma show
Yeah.
or
Do you remember who opened or?
no? They were just outside in the parking lot. There's one of those.
Oh, you mean for the Casbah show? Who they opened for, or who opened?
Or
for?
hoping for them.
I don't know.
don't know.
We just remember Nick Oliveri asking us for Coke, and that was like the highlight of the night. So.
That was probably, to be honest with you, I think that was probably before
yeah.
they played Soma, because that was a Casbah show that was at the new Soma. What happened was that they sold way too many tickets, so they're like, "Hey, we got to make this a bigger show."
Yeah, because I don't think that show wasn't near sold out, was it?
There's probably half, and
Yeah.
I think the Distiller's open for them.
Did we even
Yeah.
have tickets? I felt like
I didn't see him at the Soma.
No. At the Casbah, did we even have tickets for that?
I don't know, but we got in
I thought we were
after they had
yeah.
started.
I thought
they
it was-
let us in because we were standing.
That would have
outside.
been.
And now Nick's
That would've
not
been
in
a
the
fun
band
show.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick
yeah,
was
it's
cool,
Yeah.
but you remember from the Caius days.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh my God,
Union.
Caius.
Caius at Union.
They're such a heavy influence that it took me a while to accept the fact that someone could like take my favorite band of all time, well, Venom, but Black Sabbath, but they could do that sound and do it so well and do it punk rock and my sort of just their approach. The bass player, I forget his name, barefoot and just up there and just everything. See, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. It was so brilliant. And it really took me a while to really understand the impact of each album. And now I'm a sycophant for them. They're just absolutely amazing. And I've done music similar, but the singer, I forget his name. If I could do a band with him, wow, I would not even need a mic in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I would just sit back and play and watch them. And that's really hard for me to not want to get up there and express my views about things. Because I get in, I just start dancing, and I get my groove on, and then I got to get in front of the mic. There's a comfort zone for me being on the bass with the mic up, like this, and all over in my face, and I can move it around with my nose or whatever. It's just there's a comfort zone for there. When I used to just do vocals in bands, which we go back into the early short-lived days, it was because I wasn't confident to play an instrument. So
you played with Short Lived too?
No, I started managing. Well, it goes back to Wiener Schnitzel and Santee.
Derweenies.
This is going to be a
And,
good story.
Yep.
So back in the day, so Dennis worked there. I was there. I don't remember the twins, Davey. So this is like 88. They started forming a band and they called it The Oppressed. And so I did the design, and I was talking to Clint about this. And it's just an eyeball and it said Oppressed. And I screen printed their first shirts. They at some point quickly, as they started to come together with it, we're like, now we're going to change their name. Oh, there was another band called The Oppressed. So they named it to Short Lived. So then I worked on our logo for that. And then another buddy of mine, John, came up and we kind of both did the logo. So I ended up just managing them, and Struggle, who's Justin Pearson, who there's not a project now that he doesn't do that. Just, he did the Locusts. He's playing with Patton and Lombardo in a new band. They did Struggle, and then there was a band, Missing Children, and it all stemmed from the 9th and Out of the Cave. So I was just kind of managing all these guys.
Dictionary Hill, right? The 9th? Yeah. So I grew up right down the street from those guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was like a crazy scene back then.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So Eddie, Eddie Vedder would show up.
I know who they are. I don't know them, but I grew up right at the bottom of the hill from that place. Kind of crazy.
So that place, who lived there was Ara, who was in the 9th. Era, who's spelled it Ara, A-R-A as well, but he was Era. So
crazy.
And Jamie lived there, and so he was a drummer. And then Chris lived somewhere else, and then Ken was married with Michelle, and they lived in OB. But, they had the stage in there.
Yeah, it was a total scene deal.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
So Eddie Vedder used to go there. Sam from Short Lived, one of the twins, told me about this a while back, and this story I keep telling. But Eddie used to go there, I guess. And I was the one that he would want cigarettes and beer, and I was like, don't let him in, don't give him anything. The story is becoming boring at this point, but the 9th were so influential that's kind of how I got my foot in the door at doing Soma.
Crazy.
So I was managing all these bands, but working with the 9th, just, Ara and I were buds. And so Soma out of Wiener Schnitzel and that just kind of grew, and I kind of stayed with Soma, booking bands and booking whoever. I mean, I did Funeral March's last show, which is still, my wife and I would talk about that. That was one of her favorites. Back in the day, there was Meat Wagon.
Oh, yeah.
RMSD. As a matter of fact, I was just talking with someone from Meat Wagon through Mike Spent the other day. And so the bands back then, Puzzle Box out of Ramona, Unwritten Law, that whole scene down there in the dungeon and all that is what that became my world. And then Short Lived, and then eventually John Cougar concentration camp, Dahmer's Diner, all that scene kind of went their own other way. But I had what was that band, Blasphemy, open up for The Offspring and Ill Repute with the Grim. And they were another El Cajon band. Sprung Monkey came out of, El Cajon. So from 89 to about 91 is when we really started to get things going.
That was a fun time in music.
Remember GBH playing?
Yeah.
That was the first show that Mike Nevison, the head of security, and I ran because Len was out of town. So Colin and I I gave him a Soma security shirt. He gave me a Japanese tour GBH shirt. And I was like, yeah, he fucking gets it. It's like soccer. You trade jerseys.
Yeah.
But out of that, there was bands. God, there were so many great bands. Sandy Duncan's Eye. I remember this. This was funny. So we're leaving the show. I got the station wagon full of all the people. And we're heading home on Pacific Highway because I lived at Silas's house with his mom. And I stayed in his room on a futon. And then the van pulls up next to us on Pacific Highway, and it's Sandy Duncan's Eye. And they have this, they threw me a T-shirt into my car, and it's a pink bear. And it's like a teddy bear with a big pink cock that comes out. And it just says Sandy Duncan's Eye on it. That shirt, I don't know if I told you this, Jerry, but that shirt, I was doing telemarketing when we were in between Soma locations. And I was working with Scott Russo from Unwritten Law. And he liked the shirt, and I kept fucking with him about it. So, in between making phone calls, I got a teddy bear with a cock. And eventually, whoever was running kind of the call center is like, you're gone. You can't be going around talking about a teddy bear. And why I wore the shirt there, I don't know. Well, I was doing Soma. Now I'm freaking cold calling people for insurance or something.
Magazine subscription.
Yeah, it was something really stupid. So, but that early scene is what really kind of molded, because everything was so organic and kind of, it was being created as we did it. There was no playbook. And as we talked about before, the one thing that I'm grateful for is Len let me kind of do it, because the way that I book shows, the bands that I booked, how much talent I brought through those doors. And then, if you did really well with me, you play on the main stage with, another bigger band. So just the amount of leeway and somehow being able to do it at that really shitty location was just brilliant. I'm fucking lucky, but that's where our scene, started and stemmed from, because the opposite of that was all the bars. And they weren't really doing anything for local talent, because the talent all came from, they were talented. You got everyone from John Reese and every project that he's ever done, to,
you got to remember too,
Lucy's, and
San Diego law didn't allow kids to go to the bars.
Yeah.
21
Right.
and up only.
yeah.
Unlike LA, where, he could be 16 and go to whiskey.
Yep.
And then, that's where the whole X on the hands and all that, but we tried to get a liquor license. Len tried.
It's a good thing it didn't happen, because then there wouldn't be wouldn't be a younger scene.
Yeah.
And looking at that younger scene that just blew
Yeah.
up back in the 90s.
Yeah. That was really the only outlet. We weren't thinking about generator shows and stuff like I was talking about earlier.
Someone would have to have a generator. And if they had a generator, they're not going to bring out in the middle for a bunch of punk ass kids,
Well, we did like house parties and stuff, but that's such a limited audience. You're not inviting half of El Cajon to your house to come see two shitty bands that just started.
Right.
The other thing is, all the other venues were really small
Yeah.
compared to both.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, Velvet's one of them.
Yeah.
Casbah.
But again, those are over 21.
Yeah. Joe and Andy's,
So
Tiny.
you had like Shay and Soul
Oh, yeah.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yep.
and
Soul
then
Kitchen.
World Beat Center, and then Showcase moved over here.
Yeah. Showcase was Mirror Mesa, right?
No, that was Epicenter.
Epicenter, that's right.
Yep.
I can never find that place. I was
The
like, I want to go
Epicenter?
to a show there, and then
It's over by
right across the street from the high school, right?
it's by the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it eventually, but
It's funny because when Golden Voice closed Metro in '99, they wanted me to run the Epicenter, whoever was in charge of it, and I turned it down because I was going on Ozfest. And Pebs from Bucko 9, he ended up running, him and his wife back then started running the Epicenter.
so if you think about it, Germ, you've been like a content coordinator your whole life. You got to think of Soma's the iPhone or a phone,
Yeah.
and then you're talking with the bands, loading them into the venue.
Yeah.
It was everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man of many hats.
Many hats.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when I really dive into everything that I was doing there, mind you, I was like 21.
Dude, think about it. We had to do everything.
From cleaning,
Loading in, loading the
loading
building
sound,
the sound.
loading the bands. I had to contact
security,
a lot of the bands.
cleaning,
Getting the stuff.
production. It was everything.
Yeah. And then
Hospitality.
on my end, I had all this homework. I had to go through all the tapes and find out what bands would work with each other. And here's the one magical thing about booking bands back then. If you book the wrong band, then you're going to have a shit show. And the Vandals are going to call up and go, you fucked up. So I had to because, back then there was some hard shit. So I had to find the right bands if I wanted, because I wanted everyone to have an opportunity to have an audience. If you keep playing in front of your same crowd, you're never going to grow as a band. You're not going to grow musically. And in my, whatever hindsight, I thought, I want to really grow something here. And basically what I was doing was I was trying to find me a home, because I didn't fit in anywhere. I'm just some stupid mohawk and freaking punk rock kid that still likes to ride a skateboard. I didn't have a car for the first years doing Soma. I didn't until Len forced me to finally get a car, and then it was Mike Nevison's car. And then that was so that I can start doing the flyer route. So I could do even more work, because God knows I didn't do enough. But the whole idea of booking bands, and then my buddy Silas and I would sit there and we would listen to stuff and look at the crowds like, okay, well, this is Poway. This is South Bay. The Poway has, some skin element, so let's kind of mellow it out with this band. And there's this whole science to everything that I was trying to do. And I got some pointers from Len, like, don't cost me money, don't fuck up, don't do this and don't do that. But I learned things like, well, here's how you properly mop a floor. here's how you properly sweep. I didn't know these fucking things. I'll tell them how to mow a lawn. I wasn't, I'm not going to get a lawn trimmer because I was just mowing lawns. I was a grunt. and it all started because I wanted to do a compilation tape. And the whole management thing and managing bands, I got a little bit of cockiness from Wiener Schnitzel where they tried to make me a manager. And I had to wear a tie and a white shirt. I just told this to Clint, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to fucking wear a tie. So I denied it. Eventually, Chris Fields and I got fired the same day. So I just kind of faked it till I made it. And then, I would do my bands, but I didn't really want to put myself out there and take a slot from someone else. So when Len asked me about doing the Fear show, I'm like, well, there's better bands, but fuck it, I want to do this one. And my singers for that, this is funny because I haven't talked about this in a long time, but the two singers that were on stage, one was my girlfriend, the other one was my roommate. I gave Sage on a napkin, okay, here's the basics. This is our set list. 6, 7 songs or whatever. Basically, these lyrics, you'll hear me on, I'll let you know, and that's the chorus. Just sing that. Otherwise, just fucking, flip people off, whatever. And I did the same thing to my girlfriend. They went up there so nervous, had no idea and I did this with other female singers as well. Just kind of watch me. You'll know the cues. You'll know the choruses. And then I just go up there, and the Fear show, I drank a couple 40s in my car before going. And I had to open the club, had to clean the club. We had to load in. So by that time, I had a really quick amount of time from opening. I had about a half hour to go and sit in my car and drink a couple 40s. So I did. And I just went up there, and you guys are ready? You girls are ready? Let's get it on. And that's it. There's no cues from me. There's no... If I'm on the ground, do not get too close. You're not going to want to be there. I'm going to give these fucking people a show. I guess Lee loved it. Awesome. But, as far as me, I couldn't be the performer and do all my jobs. It's like when I ended up leaving and Jerry had to take over at Metro because it wasn't really any freaking choice. I had to give Len all my information for all the bands. I gave him about half of them. And another thing, because I went through and I'm like, these bands aren't going to deal with them. And I'm not going to give them Greg Hedson's personal phone number and Keith Morris's phone number and all these people. They had management at that time, and I didn't want them. I was trying to protect people.
They had booking agents at that time.
Yeah, which back in my day, it was like to get Keith to do Circle Jerks, I started with, I talked to Greg Hedson, and I remember talking to him and, hey, you got him? Yeah, I'm playing, I think at that time, it was either Atari or Nintendo. I don't even know if Nintendo was out yet. And he was playing video games. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm trying to get, I want to get the Circle Jerks. Oh, we're not doing the Circle Jerks. Well, what about Bad Religion? We're not, I don't know, because I had to convince him what Soma was and that they should play and not go and play for Tim or Harlan or, at that point, I don't even think Silva was involved, but Silva was doing much bigger things, Bill Silva. And then he gave me Keith's number, and then I talked to Keith for a while. And then he said, I got this project called Bug Lamp. I said, okay, well, let's see if we'll make this work. And I probably got him for like $400. I got the Offspring for $200.
Wow.
So, that's the way things were back then. But by the time I wasn't doing all that, and then, at Metro, I mean, that was a completely different world, especially Metro, as we were talking with Clint earlier. Just the specs, and Jerry can talk more about this, but just in the neighborhood to keep the club not being closed down, the whole neighborhood had to be cleaned. So when I had left, everything's now on Jerry's shoulders, and it just...
Yeah, you just tossed it on me.
Here you go, a bucket of shit.
Because I went from the I went from cleaning to doing some security to doorman, and then Jeremy leaves, and all of a sudden I'm managing the venue. So it's pretty crazy. Thrown in the fire, basically.
I still, that's probably why I was so depressed after leaving. But I mean, I had no choice. Lynn was doing these fucking raves, and to add that, there was so much corruption going on. So, again, dude, I'm sorry, but I had to get the fuck out of there, and I didn't have any choice.
I successfully avoided the raves at Soma.
They weren't cheap either.
No.
Those were some hefty tickets back then. $20.
Yeah.
For some glow sticks and a lot of pounding music in your brain.
Yeah. I didn't see too many shows at the Union main floor.
See,
I saw Eka Mouse there.
Yeah.
I think I missed the Stone Temple Pilots video shoot thing. Yeah. I heard about it probably like
that was a long
3 years
fucking
later.
day. Yeah. Oh my Lord.
And see, I was in the Navy, so I was gone most of the time. So I only saw like 3 shows at Union, and then come back, and then, Union's closed. I'm like, where the hell am I going to go? And that's when all the good shows were in Tijuana at Iguanas.
Oh man, I saw Tool and this band called
Wood Pussy.
Was it Wood Pussy?
Yeah.
I always thought it was Mud Pussy, but
no, it was Wood Pussy on the top of that building.
Yeah, it was
show.
called Mexitlon or something like that.
Yeah, the Mexitlon Plaza.
Yeah, I saw a guy punch a girl, and then we didn't see the guy again. I'm pretty sure he died that day. Like,
got thrown off the top of the building.
Something crazy. Those were
the days when
nuts.
Tool was really good.
Yeah, yeah. I think Opiate was out.
Yeah, Opiate was out.
Undertow was maybe just out.
It was just getting ready to be put out.
Yeah, and I was like, holy fuck. Because we were already listening to the Opiate EP. Yep. I worked at Tower Records for a while. So, you get hired there, and then everybody's like, listen to this, listen to that. And like, at that time, I was like, I love Led Zeppelin and Santana. And then they're like, well, wait a minute. What about punk rock? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then they're like, here. And so it was like college.
Yeah.
Basically, like, here, these are all the bands you need to
know,
to listen to. Here's San Diego band. Like, that was Tower was like the crux for me. Like,
what tower did you work at?
I worked at Sports Arena.
Okay.
La Mesa and La Jolla for a little bit. Like, I kind of bounced around. I was a receiving clerk, but the bookkeeper there at the Sports Arena tower was married to Dion from Creedle.
Oh, okay.
So he's now doing this band called 16, kind of doom, sludge, whatever.
Yeah.
And shout out to him because he was a big influence on me playing drums too, because I was just really starting at that time.
Yeah.
I remember, so her name was Jessica, and she's like, have you ever heard of Rocket from the Crypt? And I'm like, no, but that's a cool name. Like, what are they all about? And then she's like, here's 3 CDs. Like, she would walk the store with me and basically like cherry pick all these killer bands and just, here you go. This is your homework, so to speak. And then, she's like, my husband and Creedle, whatever, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, Creedle, whatever. I ended up seeing them at the Velvet. Fucking awesome. And then I think I was still 20. So I wasn't able to get into bars yet. But Creedle did Guns and Creedle. I don't know if you remember that. They played the full Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, okay.
At the Casbah. So I was like the roadie. So I had a bandana on, like totally dressed the part, got a lanyard with a Guns and Creedle World Tour kind of thing.
Yeah.
Super funny.
The problem with us is like talking about some of these shows that happen at Casbah or wherever, we were stuck at Soma.
Yeah.
So we weren't going out and seeing any of these other shows. We're seeing what was happening at Soma.
So that's a great point too, because even like being in a band, sometimes it's hard to like just get around to new music because we're jamming once or twice a week. If we got a show, we're sometimes jamming 3 times a week and then playing the show, or 2 times and then playing the show. So it's weird to like finally get back into being able to listen to music again without like having it be a thing, like where you're like, I'm just so burned out on music, man. I don't want to hear anything. But like for you guys, you didn't even leave Soma really. And you probably missed a bunch of cool stuff unless you saw a lot of cool stuff too. But
it was, for me, realistically, whenever we were like really in the club, that's all I did. I mean, 24/7. I was always on call.
Yeah.
And I was working 7 days a week. Sometimes I'd just go to the club to, replace a toilet or paint one of the walls or whatever needed to be. I mean, literally whatever needed to be done within my scope. Put up masonite so that when the kids go by and they punch in the graffiti hall, I'd hear a yipe and go, "You just tried to punch the wall, motherfucker." That's 1/4-inch masonite, and I put it at the slick side out.
Oh shit!
Because I knew the tricks. Because I have to replace all this shit.
Yeah.
But it was, to be so encompassed, and then everything that I did, I would look through the reader and other things to try to find out.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for actually starting this podcast is, for one, so I don't have to do a book, but to tell the other story, because there was the bar story, Rocket from the Crypt and Creedle and all those bands, and that whole scene, and it was so huge, and it just seemed larger than life whenever we would have one of those bands actually play for us. It was like, wow. For me, I'm thinking these are the guys, like Fishwife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is funny, we were just talking about Ryan. My wife had seen Ryan today, and we still see him around here. And then what other bands were back then? Sub Society.
A lot of those bands wouldn't play Soma.
Yeah.
They were anti-Soma.
That's what I was thinking. Those two scenes kind of simultaneously.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what's weird was, a lot of those Casbah bands got signed, but they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, Rust.
Where all
Was
the
the first
Soma
one.
bands
I
that got
remember Rust.
signed went
Yeah.
places,
I think I saw Rust at
Platinum
Soma,
Records.
and it was a pretty low turnout.
Yeah, and that made it even more impacted. But we would, Len would deal with them more. I would try to be like, look, you just got to do this and that, because I was that guy.
Yeah.
I could talk to Daryl from Meat Wagon one way, but then when I'm talking to, Matty from Fishwife, it was different, because I looked up to him as they were just a different level. They were, I was a punk rocker, and they were, established. And now if I see Matt, it's nothing, but I still, in a way, I still kind of do look up to those guys, because I still feel like I'm that guy. And that's partially because of the way that I've just seen and kind of treated me.
I feel that way too. They were all those bands were a huge inspiration on me. Like, they made it to this level, but it was more so the music. But then, you watch the trajectory of them, like, Casbah, Friday, Saturday night, two like Lucy's for Coat, any of those reunion shows, we were there.
Yeah.
We were watching Charlie wring his fucking shirt out on stage and just going, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and we were already playing at that time. And we're like, this is why we got to keep doing it. Like, they're doing it. Other bands are doing it. But I don't think, I know for me, I don't know about these guys, but I'm still inspired by that 90s music scene that was in San Diego.
Well, that was our scene.
Well, that was
that was us.
Well, it was such a cool thing too. Glenn, you mentioned being in the Navy, and I was in the Navy also. And one of the things I thought was such a trip, you're talking about when you meet someone, it's like, oh, you got to listen to this. The guys I met in the Navy, they didn't have any cool stuff,
because they were all from the country,
right?
states.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm like, oh man, I went and saw these guys. And I was like, and they had nothing to offer. And it's like, it gave me this feeling that we're from such a cool place that you could pretty much go any weekend. There was at least 4 or 5 places you go and you're going to see something cool. And it's still inspiring to this day.
Well, for me, it was like torture, because I was under 21 and most of those bands were playing bars, not Soma.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I still saw great shows at Soma. That's why I went there. I was like, well, shit, I can't go there. I'm going to have to go here.
They were loyal to Tim and the Casbah or those scenes, and they hated Soma.
Yeah.
They just hated it.
But I discovered Fishwife at Soma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one downtown on Market Street.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's where Fishwife started, as far as I could tell. I mean,
Yeah, see, they started. Wait, for me to be able to get that was like, okay,
yeah.
this is, because there's also the other scene was the UCSD scene. So anyone that played the Che was that more grittier, and then it turned into heroin and wine rock or whatever they are. But the Triton, that's where, because of what I was doing with the bands, and the Ninth gave me some credibility. So like Sub Society, DDA ended up being he's the drummer. He ended up being my roommate for a while and did a lot of my piercings. And we still kind of talk every now and again, but there was Sub Society, and I'm trying to remember A Miniature,
Fluff.
Inch.
left back then, and Inch eventually
Yeah.
came out, with Stymie, and so that was a completely different crowd. Like I went to a private party. Let's see, Dave Smalley, Milo, and Scott all sang, doing all songs. And then I saw I don't know if that was a private party or not, but to be able to see all three of those guys doing, all the songs was just like, what the fuck? This is incredible. But there was what is that band? Jerry was a race car driver.
Primus.
Yeah.
That was a private party. I don't remember if the other guys played in that, but seeing that there and just the scene there was so much different. And it was different from anything I was trying to do at Soma. But that was in the early days where I still could kind of go out, and I didn't really have my life set out to where I couldn't do anything other than Soma. And then, so I never really went to the Casbah back then, I didn't really go to many bars, so that was kind of the idea of this is something that I kind of want to mimic. And then once we started getting our teeth in and really doing the scene down here, places like Soul Kitchen, and then Ezod when he had his place over here.
Showcase.
And so those places started opening up more and more to give the bands that I was working with a place to play. But the bar scene has always just kind of my wife just got home, sent me a message. But the scenes they kind of would flow, but there's so much division, still. But you got to admit, the bands that played the Casbah, the bands got the bigger shows, and I mean, Tim would have everyone come through that tiny little fucking place when they should have been playing either Union.
You want to trip on
Metro.
something? My first Casbah show was Alanis Morissette.
What?
Jagged Little Pill tour
At the
with Taylor Hawkins.
the
Velvet.
No,
the Velvet or
at
the other
Current.
the Current.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we went down to see
Wow.
Smashing Pumpkins. We went down to see Smashing Pumpkins at the Velvet down here. It was the old Casbah, and it was. I mean, that place was tiny. We couldn't get in. I stood there with John Rivera, and we could not get in. But nobody knew who the hell they were back then.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, the us's kind of knew who they were, but. It's nuts, the whole, and then everybody just explodes. To your point, it's crazy, man.
And they should have been playing, the main stage at Soma for a much bigger audience, but
Somehow,
But even like the White Stripes played at the Casbah.
yeah.
And then they got so big they had to play, Tim did them at the new Soma.
yeah.
Because everybody, the promoters all kind of worked together. So like if they knew that they weren't gonna they were gonna sell out and need a bigger crowd, they would do the show at Soma. Like you had Bill Silva did shows there.
Yeah, you see a lot of Casbah presents at other venues.
Yeah, Fine Line.
Fine Line presents.
Yeah, so they all did shows at Soma.
It started
gonna
to
be a bigger
finally
show.
work. And then even like 91X was done some things. So we were, by the time we got to Metro, we finally got the credibility to host these much bigger shows because we had everything in-house. And we ran, they would bring some people in, but I mean, it was a tight fucking ship, coming from military background. And that this is a funny thing. I brought this up before, but the reason why I even trusted Jerry to take any position in my head of working with me, because I would always kind of find where people, their skills were at. But with a military background, because I don't have it, I grew up at Soma on the streets and, at Soma. But with his background, I thought, okay, he's got the discipline, and that's what we needed to have that place run, especially the more that Len would be gone. So I knew that Mike Nevison had basically the security, and if things weren't going the way that I liked, and if I was starting to get pissed about something, then Mike would know. And if I'm pissed about something, then there's something going on, because I stay in my own lane.
Yeah,
But I'm still a
Len
stupid
being
punk
gone
rocker.
is a good thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember everybody talks shit about that guy
And
from
to be
day one.
To be honest,
Yeah.
like Metro, a lot of the shows Lynn wasn't there. we ran those.
So the ambiance between Union and Metro, vastly different. How did you guys feel about that? Did you miss Union, or were you like, oh,
Well,
Metro's like cleaner, nicer?
Because I only went to Union a couple times. I was actually afraid.
You didn't work at Union.
I never worked at Union, but that was a scary place.
Yeah. No, so my dad used to actually stay with me in the dungeon shows, and he would get hit on by all these teenage kids, and he'd have like a leather jacket on and shit. And I saw your dad at the show last weekend, back at high school. Like, yeah, man, he's not going to leave me there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a dungeon. So,
Yeah, and then plus you had to be signed in.
yeah.
But
It's
for
like
me,
Chuck E. Cheese for
this-
degenerates.
this is this is gonna be the funny thing. So downtown, I was in my element. That was it. The building didn't really scare me. The cockroaches scared me. I got sick of having to clean up the piss out front, but then that was my place. Everything about the place. When we were done with there and we knew that we were done, so Len and Owen would go with me every now and again. When we're throwing shit up at the lights, 3 stories up, to break basically everything in the building, it was the best way for me realistically to realize this is the end of where I found a home. I'm going to fucking tear this place down. I want it to burn. Now what the hell am I going to do with my life? And then we did the Scottish Rite Center, and then we get the Metro, and I wasn't even going to go to Metro. I had so much shit going on in my head. It was a really bad place. Homeless a couple more times, and just bad decisions over my choice of relationship. And there's 2 kids involved that were her kids. So here again, I put myself in a position of trying to be a father and help these kids out. And I love this girl, and the girl was a freaking train wreck, and I wanted to still be there for the kids. Len made a nice threat that came very clear in my head. So I went back, and I should have just put on a suit and a tie and just sucked up. And I hated Metro. I fucking hated Metro. But now I want, we want the building.
And see,
I hated it.
I actually love Metro. I actually loved it better than you, Soma. Like the vibe was different. It wasn't the same at the sports arena location versus off Marina.
And you and Scott built that place, which is, but
just wasn't. It didn't have the same vibe.
The sports arena is a lot cleaner. It's definitely not the same nostalgia that I remember from Metro and Union.
And just the bands that played Metro, just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of huge bands, and some one-hit wonders, a lot of radio bands, and it just, the whole vibe was different there than when it. Well, not only that, Lynn's attitude was different. He was married, and she was trying to book all the shows, and she didn't have a clue, and it wasn't meshing, and Lynn was under a ton of stress, I'm sure. So I had to walk out. I walked out in June of 2004. It was weird because when Metro closed down, it was because of a sewage issue, and Sleater Kinney was playing. And the day I quit at Sports Arena, Sleater Kinney was playing.
Shit.
the day I should have quit at Metro was the whole show.
Yeah,
when we had sewage problems. Were you at that show?
Oh yeah, I think it took Courtney over an hour to come out on stage.
Yeah,
Well,
Veruca Salt opened.
I guess I scared her as well.
And
but
Drew Barrymore was backstage.
I remember her in the crowd actually hanging out. She was dating.
She looked like
Eric,
shit.
the guitar player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She just looked like a little pixie chick,
She
and everyone's like, "Ooh, Drew Barrymore." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
she was so strung out that show.
really? Yeah."
Which one? Both or?
You guys the whole show.
The main thing that I remember about the whole
I
show
don't remember
is
Drew being at any other shows. I just remember that.
no,
one.
that's the
Just
only
that
one.
Yeah, that I remember.
But I remember the women's bathroom overflowing, and guess who was cleaning that up? I'm not even going to raise my hand because we're on podcast.
Well, Metro had that longer hallway too, right? Like it had kind of like an auxiliary hangout.
It would go around
A merch.
the
Yeah.
merch
That's
area,
right,
which was
yeah,
the
yeah.
side stage. So we'd go around that to the bathrooms to the back where the soda bar was. And then there was 2 other ways to get onto the main floor. So yeah, you had that graffiti hallway.
Yeah, I remember that pretty vividly. What about the Scottish Rite shows? How many of those were there? I remember being at a Boss Tones show at the Scottish.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at my books, but by that time, my books weren't as thorough. But I think we did 2 shows.
We had the Ghoul Spoon record release.
Right.
Oh, cool.
And then there might have been 3 shows. I remember one. I was sick as a dog, and again, it was like I felt
because it wasn't. So the Boston's would probably headlined.
yeah.
Ghoul
Yeah.
Spoon was headlining their record release,
Yeah.
and then you had Unwritten Law, I believe, headlined a Scottish Rite show.
Okay, so there was 3 shows there. Yeah, and it just that place was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't all, I come from punk rock. I come from Black Walls and dirt and grit and just high energy. And then we get there and it's, it's a Masonic temple. For one, you got to, it's just a respect thing. Just straight up, you have to make sure you respect the venue. So for me, that just added so much more stress.
Yeah.
On
Because
whole...
someone's going to fuck something up.
Oh, yeah.
A hall full of kids moshing.
Yeah, when you get, especially at that point, there was such a big scene from Poway that would come to the shows. So it just the tension and everything about it would kind of, it was just weird. It wasn't comfortable.
I don't know where he went.
And
Out front.
yeah, so you'll be able to hear it on the podcast. It's the Ring. Anyone that's got a Ring knows that it's Ring, but it's all good. So God, I'm gonna have to find the. We've been trying to get from the Reader all of our shows so we can actually have everything from day one. But we can't find anyone. We can't. All the resources we've used, it doesn't pan out to anything. So it'd be really great. I think Zach from now Smash Mouth.
Right? What the heck? That is the weirdest thing. I woke up one day and I was like, am I in a fucking dream right now? Nightmare? How does this even... Why? I don't know. I don't want... Great
good
for him. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Eventually...
But it's a weird... Yeah, it's a weird trajectory.
Well, eventually I'm going to be able to get the story. I've talked to him about it, and at first he was like, management won't let me do anything, but I said, we got to... Because Ghoul Spoon's story of how they started with me is pretty incredible anyways. But that's another one, going along those lines of now Zach singing for Smash Mouth. Now I've gone through so many resources to get a hold of Tom DeLonge because I want Tom to come in. And I want to know the story because, going from literally absolutely nothing to they're the biggest thing that's ever played and, worked with me. And now they're huge. But again, it's, management and people and...
Yeah. Well, this reunion's got to be like, I don't know what the generations before reunion would have been. Like the Who, maybe? Or...
this is...
Is it even going to be big or... let's see what these shows do.
Yeah.
Might not do anything.
Well, the ticket prices
$250
are...
for
That's
a
a
ticket?
lot. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I saw them with Skiba and...
It wasn't the same, huh?
No. It wasn't. But did I ever see them before? I don't know if I ever saw them before, to
Oh,
be
you never
honest.
saw them before?
I'd have to look. If I did, it was probably Soma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
See, I didn't even know about all the... I didn't know that Tom had left and all that. It just...
well,
I got to get the story.
he did a great side project, Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah.
And had
And
Rockets drummer, Adam.
Boxcar Racer.
Yeah, Boxcar was
Oh.
really cool.
Do you want to get the door?
But, yeah, I really
I think it's
dug
locked.
that.
No, he's not ringing the.
But
yeah, that'll be a good get if you can get him out.
yeah, well, the story is incredible. The success story.
Well, I got a little blank story for you. It's actually about Bad Religion. I think Bad Religion was not. They didn't have the audience that they wanted. You know, they wanted a bigger crowd, and they actually hit up Green Day to go out open for Green Day. And Billy Joe's like, "There's no way we open for you guys. There's no way we're gonna, out of respect." But at the same time, they were hurting Bad Religion, so Blink 182 took them out on their tour, and it actually boosted Bad Religion. They gained a newer audience.
I know. I thought that happened because I was I'm pretty sure I was at the show because you know how I guess Metro, they used to have, if you could bring 80 people to see you, then you got to open. I thought that whole thing happened because of Soma, like the story I had heard, because I was there watching Blink, and when they finally got the 100 people to be able to open up for Bad Religion, and then they opened up for Bad Religion, next thing I knew, they were going on the tour, on the road with them, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Next thing I know, this little band that I saw at this little place all of a sudden is on the road with my favorite band. I couldn't believe it.
It's like Pennywise took them to Australia, and they just blew up huge in Australia.
But yeah, that was the thing when I believe one of their shows, they brought 13 people, and this would be at the end of Union. So again, I would have to look at my books. But so when I went back to Metro, and I'm back to doing my own thing, so I'm booking a show again. And I tell Len, I said, I don't want to put Blink on the bill. And he lost his mind. He's like, why the fuck are you going to book them? They didn't bring anyone last time, blah, blah, blah. And I go, no, but it's different. And I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But nonetheless, I argued my way into it, and I just booked them. They're playing, period. They played, and because of the fact that it was either right at the beginning of the school year or something, I did see something where Tom had kind of glossed over it. They flyered the hell out of it because I was telling them, I teach each band how to promote themselves. And again, the stories, it's out there. I've never really liked their music ever, to be completely honest. As kids, and because they were a local band. But then again, I can say that about probably 80% of what I booked, it was not my thing. I'm not booking you to play for me. If you want to just go up there and do Venom covers, fuck, I'll book you every night. No one's going to come. I'll be there. Fuck, I'll do vocals. I'll pretend I'll dress up like Kronos. Fuck, I'm there. But it wasn't about me. So, they promoted like fucking crazy. They went to the same school as my sister, or Tom did at least. I don't remember if Scott did or not. They promoted
Poway High, right?
Yeah, Poway High.
Yeah, all Poway High.
And then, someone went to Skin Your Penis, Penis Skeetus, Penis Squeetus,
Sweetest
Penis.
There you go. I just say that because my mom, they ended up moving there, and when I was still able to live at home, and with her new husband, that was a promise. We're going to get this new house. And then I didn't realize that was eventually going to be, I was 17. I was graduating. I was kicked out, and her husband hated me. But so he's a piece of shit anyways. Fuck you, Dave.
Totally.
He deserves a splinter in the dick.
Oh, he does.
Well, you know what? It's funny. You're talking
up on my cock.
You're talking about your sister going to school with one of the guys. Mark's stepfather was in the Navy with me.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
Yeah.
Small world.
Oh, small world.
But so the bottom line is they promoted like fucking crazy. They did their homework. They did what I suggested they do. They brought in a shit ton of people. Len lost his cookies. I think it was 153 people, if I remember correctly, because I got $1. No, each band would get $1 per person, and I think that one somehow I made like maybe $100 for that night because I'd only get paid Friday and Saturday night, but I worked all week. So I'm making a couple $100 if it's really good for 2 days, 7 days worth of work, but it depended on the bands. Line's like, okay, and I think he actually told me that they're with me now. So find another band. I can swear that's what he said. Like, they're with me now, so find another band. So, I'm the stepping stool. And then you go up and you get the good shows with Len. And that's where you really get the exposure. But it worked, and that was proof in the pudding. And, I'm glad to be there at the fucking bottom. So I'm still at the bottom, and I want to talk to Tom, and I want to get his side of the story, because I've heard that in the book, one of them really goes through the details. I've heard all these things. It's like when you're thanked on an album. I'm thanked on God knows how many albums. Who reads that shit?
Anymore.
Well, first you got to get an album, but it doesn't really matter. So I want to sit and talk with them. I want the story. I'm not a fan of their music. I've heard some stuff lately that I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. They matured as musicians. They're part of San Diego scene. We need to all share the story.
You guys definitely have a huge part of this history, the pieces of the puzzle. It's a trip, because obviously I've never really met you guys, but man, a lot of lineage and history with you guys, man. It's crazy. What a trip.
Yeah, but my ego is so big that I didn't even hear what you just said. I'll put my hand out and I'll expect a credit card. But see, it's all part of it. And realistically, as we're trying to push this and get the podcast going, our stories are one thing. I mean, I could sit here and I could tell the same story, tell them blue in the face, but it's other people's stories and how that's what I care about. That's what I've always cared about, because it's.
I was going to actually ask everybody, did all of you guys go to Union? Did you guys all see shows over there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I almost did. I had heard that it was cool, and it's so funny. I was first in the Navy, so I wasn't 21 yet, and we were wandering around downtown trying to find it, me and my buddy. And this guy is like, homeless guy is like, if you give me $5, I'll tell you. So we gave him $5, and he sent us to Cafe Sevilla.
Oh, shit.
And I was down there, and there was flamenco dancing and stuff, and I was like, this can't be the place.
So what show were you trying to get to?
No, I was just trying to go. I was
somewhere.
new, so I was just trying to go somewhere where we could see some bands. And then we found out that they had moved. Actually, I think I might have been a little bit late, so they had moved.
That was like mid or early '94.
Yeah, you're right. So, but then the scariest moment of my life was at the Soma Metro when Korn played. I had never been in an area that was so packed full of people where the pit was the entire building. Like, and I had heard them, and I didn't really know how big they were. And we were there, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's a lot of people here."
Were they headlining that?
Yeah.
show? Was that the one with all the dolls on the?
No, it was before that. It was like they were still pretty new, and I didn't know that there was going to be that many people who knew who they were. And so every place I had been up to that point had only been these little small isolated pits. But when they are you ready? The entire place was just boom, 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 and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
There's the day I got out of the Navy was we're doing a Korn show, and it was with Limp Bizkit opening at Metro.
Okay, yeah, that was not the one.
It was probably raining, right? Because whenever fucking Jonathan would come down, this is a long time joke, and it's boring Jerry at this point, I'm sure. But we were sitting out back because when they used to play like Dream Street, and they played with like Gold Spoon and stuff. So when they really started to get big,
They played the side stage.
and it would be raining so many times when they play. So I just told him, I go, "You guys brought the rain. It's because you're from L.A."
Bakersfield.
I know, but still, because I'm playing everything on L.A. Because I still, to this day, will say
You always say that LA.
San Diego's, the bastard child of L.A. as far as the scene, But I think it's so freaking hilarious. And he just looked at me like, What are you talking about? But that was my wit. And back then, before everything started getting really big, I would have time to be able to talk with bands because, you're just creating personal relationships and you try to, people come to your house and they kind of want to, get to know what's going on. And once bands start getting bigger and they're being kind of pigeonholed into what they need to do at each show, it starts to lose a lot of that stuff. So me being in the back the whole freaking time, because I just stayed backstage and I ran everything from back there. I didn't have to go up front. Jerry's up front. Mike's up front. I just sit back there and talk with people. There's nights where if it's a side stage, I'm just out in the back by myself, just pacing the parking lot and just orchestrating things as things going on. I spent a lot of lonely nights just in my head back there.
You mentioned being at the bottom. You like the bottom. The bottom's probably the best place to be in music because you're going to meet everybody.
Yep, when they go up and when they come down.
Right? Either they're going to go up, stay there, or go away.
Everyone comes back down at some point. They either get burnt out or they just want to get back to their roots.
Yeah, I'd like to say we were like a pretty good secret. Some people know us. We've got a little bit of name recognition, especially now these last couple of years after COVID, but not like what it could have been in the 90s. If we were doing this, in the same trajectory that we are now. But we're meeting a lot of cool people too. Like a lot of it's networking now.
Zop got recognized at Petco Park.
You got recognized.
I got recognized twice.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is you guys are on the come up now, and there's so many other bands right now that are moving. There's more bands being formed.
That's true.
I mean, I'm in the middle of figuring out which one project's going to play out first, and when we're actually going to get a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's antsy and they want to get out there again. But you guys already got it's down. You've got John is already you're on great. His radar.
Yeah.
I've got you guys on the Magnol Kids.
Yeah. On
their radar. You're doing all the right things, and the music and the shows are what is carrying it.
Yeah, so there would be nothing else without it.
And that's a lot more than a lot of other bands right now. There's bands that have a lot of talent and they look good.
Yeah,
but there's when a band has it, it shows on stage, and then that's better than anything. Word of mouth is the best way to get it going.
I think we all agree that. Yeah, we don't want to just put out music to put it out.
When you guys, to me, when I saw you guys at the brewery, you guys were the best band there. Stage presence, everything.
Appreciate it.
Boom. Yeah. Like I said, punch.
But I was smiling, and I don't smile around crowd. I'm the head down. I'm focused. I'm doing my thing. Just like at the club. You guys are playing. I'm just like, yeah. I'm showing the soft side. I'm vulnerable, but it can't help it. I mean, good music does it.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
So,
that's why I appreciate having you guys come here and sit
we
with
thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
It's stuff like this that helps pat our butt a little further. That's not so much, our music and playing at a bar. So we definitely appreciate
a little promotion.
Yeah.
Do we have another song queued up that we can play before we start doing some salutations? And then of course we got to promote whatever's coming up. This probably will not be published for a couple months, so it's just whatever sites, wherever you want people to go to find out about music. And I mean, any last comments? Anything?
Just thanks again. This is great.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's our paths have crossed so many times over the past 30 years. It's a trip. Just everything you guys are talking about, the old Soma, Dance Macabre, King Mother, and all these different things that, just from back in the day, but we all kind of followed a similar pathway. So, cause I'm the same age as you guys. So, we all are. So,
well, that goes back to, I was remembering when I first moved out to Santee, because I was talking about with Clint when he moved out there. So there's Brian from originally Oslon, now Psychotic Waltz. Yeah. He lived in the same complex as where my dad did, and my dad had got an overcab, camper that he put in his garage. So when I moved out to Santee to get clean and get my shit together, that was my place in his garage. But I wasn't homeless at that point, so I was pretty freaking stoked. But so, Buddy worked at Trip West, and that's where I would go and get records.
Get my tickets there too. Yeah.
And then if you wanted to, you can go in the back and you can get some baggies and maybe a bong or a pipe.
Nice.
And then there's a Tower Records out there, and that's where Gary Scheffler, I forget, he worked there, and then Brian Pollard, who was heavy into the goth scene and is still around. We're friends on Facebook, so that means that I can see his stuff, and if we try to talk, then it might take a month or so. But, he was another huge thing that influenced me in the early days. And Brian Pollard and Gary and Buddy and Ozlon. And then that metal scene, because it wasn't really a punk scene back then in Santee. And we slowly started doing it and creating it out of Wiener Schnitzel, which, then that turned into the Shady Lane apartment was short-lived, and then it turned into the short-lived house. The band and the scene and how many lives have been touched. And again, I can't reiterate this enough, but the stories need to be told because we're all one and we're all part of this scene.
Yep.
And it's time for bands like you guys to be seen and recognized.
Yeah. Thank you.
Coming
Well, I was actually going to ask them, like, what was your favorite show at either of the Somas that you guys remember that stands out?
I mean, I know for me, I don't know if I had a favorite. I like it because it was like an outlet. I'm a kid. I can't go to a bar. I can maybe go fish at Tony's Beer of the Worlds on Voltaire and maybe get a 40 for $2.50 when it was $1.80 at the store down the street. But they're going to card me at the store down the street. So, it was just more of an outlet, just like surfing and skating, growing up in OB.
Because a lot of the bands that were playing you didn't really know. So you're just I'm going to go check these guys out.
Yeah, that would be more of the local bands that were opening up for some of the national acts, which I mean, we had a friend, Trevor, he was in Turkey Mallet.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I and he was another inspiration. He was a great drummer. I think he's up in LA now with his brother doing a couple other bands. I can't remember their names, but, we've reconnected on Facebook and stuff like that.
Well, tell him I says hello.
Not Trevor, but his brother. Because I don't think Trevor's on there, but he was good friends with a friend of mine. But I just remember being at his house one day, like, yeah, I'm in the ska band called Turkey Mallet. We're playing, blah, blah. I'm like, I'll come check you out. And I think we saw him at Soul Kitchen, and it blew my fucking mind. I was like, wow, that guy's fucking great at drums, and he's my age. Like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah, but, a lot of people have high praise for Turkey Mallet.
Yeah, they were that. I don't know. It was like Cairo Scuro, that album that they put out. It was great. I listened to it like, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I was like, fuck, still great in the ska world,
Yeah.
But as far as Soma shows, I mean, all the dungeon shows, that was the equivalent of surfing and skating for me. It's like, I'm going to go in that pit. I'm going to get all sweaty. I'm going to try not to hit the fucking concrete pylon that everybody's, trying to make it in between.
I never got to go to a single dungeon show.
Yeah, it was dangerous, but it was like you're a kid and you have no sense of this kind of. I think I was probably like 14, maybe 15, and whatever.
The only time I'd been in the dungeon was when it was being used. And I've said this before on another podcast, but it was being used as the dressing room. And I just got back from Desert Storm and went down there with another Navy buddy and hung out with Kevin Seconds because 7 Seconds was playing.
Nice.
Yeah, as far as
and then Lynn came down with I think Misa at the time came down. Who the fuck are these guys in here? Oh, what? Get them out! And Kevin's like, oh no, these guys are cool. Let them hang.
Nice.
Nice.
I think the whole show was pretty rad at Metro, from what I remember. Even having to wait like a while because Courtney was just a mess.
She was like tripping because that wasn't long after Cobain killed himself.
Right.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was
only
before or
like
after.
6 months.
Yeah, maybe that's
it wasn't
why
that long after.
Maybe that's why it took her a while to get out. But I just remember it was just so great. She had her foot on the fucking monitor. She just still was owning it. And it was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, this is like, so I remember that one pretty vividly. But I think I saw like Sublime, and I want to say No Doubt played there too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They played together.
And I love Sublime. Like one of the first bands I was in when I lived on Bacon Street, and we did instrumental funk, punk, and reggae. And we'd have people come up and freestyle rap in our living room. We just played in our living room.
Yeah.
So like, like DJ Unite, he was our guitar player. And then a buddy of mine from high school named Citron. We lived in the house, and then, that's what we did. We just did house parties.
Yeah.
So we'd run into the Slightly guys sometimes at house parties, whatever. And I saw them at many house parties just growing up. We went to the same high school. And, just so, having that Soma as another outlet, above and beyond just my own living room was great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I don't know. There's just so many good times that I remember from there. But I also remember going, oh man, we got to go to fucking Soma. But then it was always great,
Isn't there another fucking place?
Well, it was more so because we're like, fuck, we're not 21. So
Yeah.
we're going to go there.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, yeah, a little hemming and hawing maybe sometimes, but it was always a good time.
And then as you got older, you actually, now thinking back, you're like, yeah, someone was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no other place, I mean, other than Soul Kitchen, but that wasn't in our neighborhood. I mean, you know, Metro was right across from OB pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, and then the Union days, that was different. You have to get a ride there, but so the accessibility of it was great, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of it for me, you know, at least the hemming and hawing was like, man, it's like an extra step for the outlet. You know, I can't just walk out my front door and, like I feel better. You know, I got to make this short travel to fucking Bay Park.
It's funny because but before I worked there, I was going to the shows there, and I never went to the bar shows. I always went to Soma, slammed 240s in the parking lot, went in there, got in the pit, got all crazy. Hell yeah, it was raging.
Well, I think so, you know, like getting back to the story of me working at Tower, that was it. Like once I started becoming more keyed into these local San Diego bands that I loved, and they're playing at the Casbah or some other 21 and up place, and I'm like, fuck, I can't go there. Guess, you know, gonna have to go to Soma. But like I said, it was always a good time.
Yeah.
You know, once you just get in there and just, you know, fucking shed off whatever bullshit you gotta shed off to, you know, get back to normal and then go from there, you know?
Yeah.
So I liked it, but,
Yep.
you know.
Any shows for you?
Like downtown Soma. the old Soma was where I used to go see just the dirtiest local bands. That was pretty much it. So nothing too crazy at the other ones, but
Yeah, the Union one for me, it was always Fishwife. I saw Sprung Monkey there, Fudge House Trunk Baby.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, that was for me. That was the best. We'd just pull up. There'd be the bums. Would be, you know. Now we have homeless everywhere, but back then
That's
we
where
only
they
had
hung out.
some
Yeah.
homeless, and they happened to be right outside.
Yeah.
And you would park, and you would have a 40 of Mickey's or whatever, like you would say, and we would give them a couple bucks and say, "Watch our car." Like they're really going to watch it. I don't know, but yeah. But those are the bands that I like the most there
Yeah.
for sure.
And mine was, I kind of mentioned the Corn show, but the most, so not only that pit situation, but then after them came on this band that I had never heard of called KMFDM.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time that just sonically, I almost puked. Like their kick drum was so loud and so I was like, I almost ralphed. And I will
You're
never
down,
forget
down
that.
on the ground with the subs.
Right. It was insane. I was like, this sound is going to make me barf. That was my first experience with that. So I had two firsts at that show.
Bowel movement causing music.
I will never listen to them again.
I remember-
Maybe as I get older, I'll have to.
Fiber.
See, I remember Corn opening for 311 there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone to that.
I think I was at that one. Yeah. I was a pretty big 311 fan, and I remember when that Korn album hit, "Are you ready?" I was like, oh shit. It was like,
What's this?
yeah.
'Cause that whole sound was different.
Because it wasn't even called new metal at the time, I don't
Yeah.
think.
The only reason I even got into it, I was reading this magazine, and it's like, did you ever hear that rumor about Les Claypool trying out for Metallica? Well, this is what that would have sounded like. And I was like, that's interesting. I'll order it right now.
Shit, you had to order it.
I mean, I was in the middle of the Gulf.
Yeah.
And then those early Deftone shows, like on the side stage, went off too.
I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
I saw Deftones there
Yeah.
too. I don't remember if it was Side.
Chino jumping into the floor monitors and just crazy.
I don't remember if it was Side or Main though. I can't. A lot of this stuff. I have ticket stubs in a box somewhere. I meant to pull them out before I came to kind of like, oh yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Right.
But I got proof.
Yeah. Well, back when you could have proof. Yeah.
Because the Deftones opened on the main stage for Anthrax.
Oh shit. Okay. I didn't
Yeah.
go to that show then. It would have been a side stage.
It was
probably.
I think it was Cannibal Corpse, Anthrax, Life of Agony, and Deftones.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
I wonder if the Deftones show I went to had Orange 9mm playing too.
That was a side stage.
Yeah. I think that was.
Yep.
Man, that was a memory on this
Yep.
guy.
Yeah. I just.
That was a good
remember-
show.
Yeah. I still.
That's
have
the one
that.
that I was talking about with Chino jumping into the.
Yeah. Then I was there. I don't remember that.
Oh, and then
part, but-
Deftones headlined a side stage show. Was actually no, they opened. It was Downset, Deftones, and Far on the side stage. That was a good show too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like that was the thing. Check the reader, what shows are coming. You know, you go through the whole thing, and yeah. I mean, now you know the kids don't have that. You know what's funny about Deftones? They have a whole new following now of the like my daughter. You ever heard of Deftones, Dad? I'm like, yeah, I've seen them. What? You've seen them? Like freaking the fuck out. What about this CD, White Pony, or you know this album? Yeah, I have it. It's over in the box in the friggin' attic. You know, you want me to fish it out for you or whatever? You know, so it's kind of interesting. They have I think they got a younger following, kind of a resurgence of this like teen following. It's so weird because like all her friends know about it. She knew about it. Was so weird. And they were all like tripping out. You've seen them before? I'm like, they're not a new band. Have you done any research on this? So
look at when they started back in '94 or even earlier than that.
Yeah, I want to say it was like
probably started in '91 or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Sacramento band.
Yeah.
You mean L.A.?
Because actually the first show I worked at Soma was the Bad Brains when HR didn't show up.
I was at that
and
one
too. And then Deftones opened that.
Yeah.
Chino actually came out and did the HR parts.
You know, I'm going to say something very unpopular right now, but they got to get HR off a stage.
Oh yeah,
it's not right. It's not right. Yeah, he's doing like reggae shows now, and I saw some live footage at the holding company. And again, this might be very unpopular for a lot of people out there. I know he probably needs to make a living, but it was, yeah.
So, what's weird is back, I think it was '94, I went to the Belly Up to see HR do his reggae, and Sublime opened, and HR ended up doing Bad Brains with all these white guys. And I'm like, what the hell? So it was pretty trippy, but it wasn't Bad Brains.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The show when he didn't show up is when I knew that we're dealing with like some serious problems. There's some insight. Oh, Jay from Spaz Boy, I believe, had some stories about it.
Well, Jay and I went over to the old Soma, the original.
Right.
Thinking HR went over there, and we had to wait over there for a bit.
Oh, God. So that night, for me, I got to talk with Dr. No, which was, oh my God, I'm with this legend. But we're talking because we're trying to figure out where the hell HR is. And the thing, the whole club is waiting for HR. And he's just freaking loopy. Didn't he? There's some faint memories of him actually coming there. Maybe getting in a fight, or
he did a solo thing. Him and Angelo from Fishbone.
Well,
they played a thing later on, but he never came there before that.
He played, and that was at Metro. He did play Union. He did.
That was God of Love, the God of Love tour.
Yeah.
For the one he missed, that was when they just got signed to Maverick. That's why the Deftones were opening, because they were also label mates.
Yeah, that's when you could see that he's losing it. He's just rattled.
I've hung out with him, and yeah, he's pretty out there.
Yeah, I've hung out with some wacky people, but
there's a good documentary about that
the whole documentary on Bad Brains. How it.
There's that one? That
one's really good.
I think they touch on.
There's Finding HR. I think that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one that I think they go through maybe the medication that he's supposed to be on and wasn't on, and kind of it seemed like a sad story, but he just did play the holding company, I want to say maybe a year ago, and that's the footage I saw, and I was like,
he just stood there, didn't sing.
It was a whole lot of standing there, and then I think he'd come up to the mic a little bit, and I'm watching this like a live stream from one of maybe the promoters or something on Facebook, just going, I want to say like this is messed up, but I know I'm gonna just get completely fucked, by everybody else. It's like, this is rad. And I'm like, if you've ever seen any Bad Brains, this is not rad. Like, this is like a bummer, like a real bad bummer. Down. Yeah. Like, and it, not that he's not singing. I mean, he has legitimate issues, but just as a fan of his, I was like, if he was in his right mind, he would not be there. If he, couldn't perform in the capacity. I'm not saying he has to perform in the capacity of all of his years in Bad Brains, but I'm just talking about like performing in general.
Just sing.
Get up to the mic.
He don't have to jump around.
Yeah, exactly.
Or stuff.
So he he was kind of hanging in the back by the drum set, and then he'd kind of saunter up a little bit, and I think he'd say a little bit, and then he'd go back, and the guys are still playing, and they're like, fuck, we got to play. Otherwise, we're just looking like shitheads up here.
And the thing that sucks for them is they probably lost their guarantee.
I have no idea. I think the place was packed, but it was not a good show.
No.
From what I saw.
Well, maybe they didn't, because they lost their guarantee when they played Soma, because HR never showed up, but yet all the other bands played.
Yeah. Well, I think they
and Bad Brains played.
They played a little, but yeah, exactly. I remember that going, oh man, they got to just do. They're doing something.
It was Chino singing a couple songs, and then Damien from Daddy Longlegs went up there and
didn't Stymie sing a couple, or
no? It was Damien and Chino, and that was it.
I don't even remember. I just remember thinking this is gonna not go over well.
And both of the guys did an awesome job. The songs went off.
I don't remember them singing, but I just remember like the band playing, no vocals, and just like going, oh fuck, this guy's really not showing up. That sucks. I was like, this is Hole all over.
Bad Brains instrumental.
Yeah.
I was telling a story about Flipper where they didn't want to go on. I won't go through all the details again, Boris, but that was the first time where it's like the show needs to go on and there's one person that's holding it all back. But there's a whole venue full of people that want their money's worth. And that's the first time I was like, this is not going to go over well. But at Metro, with the size of the audience there, it's like, oh, this really isn't going to go over well.
Because that almost happened with Hole.
Yeah.
It came on an hour
It was getting loud. I remember I was like, oh, fuck, this shit's going to go down.
The arrows on the ground, there was 3 of them. There probably should have been 4 because you have to come out of the green room, make a right, and then another right, and go onto the stage. And she couldn't figure that out. She was so fucking brain dead. She was so out of her mind. But, the Bad Brain show, that, when something like that happens, my main thing is getting everyone out and having it not fire extinguishers going off, not a vandals situation. I want the equipment to stay there. And then for me, I don't want to come there the next day and clean up on the outside all the damage, because,
we only had maybe 2 shows that were like riots on the side stage.
Yeah.
I think one was Millencolin, and maybe the other one might have been AFI.
Yeah, I don't remember. It just
all the crowd went on the stage and was grabbing stuff. And
yeah, and then, for the most part, we had a good amount of security to deal with all that. And the scene, because of our reputation, didn't go the Vandals route. And I'll just use that as an explanation. But there was times where, things would just kind of get a little kind of crazy, and you can almost smell the craziness in the air. But that makes for a great show.
Oh yeah.
Me as a performer, it's because my thing with the bass and why I use so much distortion and everything is I would tell people that I'm basically trying to cause bowel movements. I want to make people feel really, really, I want them to feel the music. So if I'm doing the heavy, droney, this is going to rip your spine out music, I want them to have that feeling and to be able to get that electricity and that buzz for whatever it is that you're doing. That's when a show's popping, like a circle jerk show. And Keith's just doing his thing. And everyone in there's eyes on Keith. Maybe a couple of people look at Xander and then over, who's that? Oh, that's Greg. But you're looking at him because you just want to see what he's going to do. And then that creates such a great, great show. And that's what we didn't get was HR. Because if he would have done that show, man, it would have just gone off. But in hindsight, it could have been even worse. He could have gone off, or he could have gone up there and did one of his things where he just stands there and it's like, hello, and then starts doing his preaching. Because I've seen a video where he's done that.
Or he does his laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then starts, talking to the voices in his head. But we survived and we're sitting here talking about it, so it's actually all a good thing.
Rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a song queued up for
What song did you guys want me to play?
Let down.
Let Down?
I think he only has the.
I only have a 3.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Probably Uno then, right?
Yeah.
You can do Uno.
Okay. And then again, just a refresher, where can people find the music?
We're on Instagram.
Apple.
The music, yeah, you can find that Apple, Spotify, Deezer, I think.
Okay.
Whatever.
And,
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Okay.
Yeah, we still have our first 2 albums still up on Bandcamp, but we haven't gone fully digital with those yet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Instagram, it's at @the_Calvin619. Facebook is just the Calvins, or I think the Calvins Rock. One of those.
But it's basically the Calvins. And, you know, the logo. You see the logo when you know it's you guys.
Yeah,
Right.
there's going to be some sort of something on there. Some skulls maybe, or...
Yeah.
Something fun.
Well, actually, our Facebook is a band photo.
Yeah.
So Paul will be right out front, and you'll see Don, and I think all of us are in it. But
That's some of the social media stuff that I've seen is what really gets me every time. It's just the minute I see the skull, then I know.
Frankenstein, all that fun imagery. That's what I love about it. Like, what kind of imagery are we going to put with this? And it may not always kind of go with our music,
Right.
But it's like, this is shit that I liked growing up. And then I like to get their input too, but sometimes they don't give a shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to fucking do whatever.
He's got great ideas. So just let it do
Pink
your
and
thing.
green was not a group decision.
No, but pink and green is pretty fun.
Chicks dig it.
Yeah. I look at it this way. A lot of people are colorblind, so the pink and green, maybe they'll figure it out.
I've got a pair of, well, they're not that pink anymore, but I have a pair of a darker pink Vans. I just figured, what the fuck?
Yeah.
At my age, hey, only real men wear pink.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, so let's hear the, what's the song name again?
Is this Uno Dos Death?
All right, let's hear it.
Out the door, the count is on. Death, you're almost gone. You'll never know what went wrong. No death is your last song. In a dance, sex thing down, face down in a gun town. No more the bleeding clown. You'll never know what went down. Uno, dos, death, you'll never see the sun. It's gone by, vital from your bed. Go and run. No death will get you, son. Like a fly close to the flame, love just outside a frame. Can you make a change, or are you the one to blame? Uno, dos, death! What will happen when you leave? But don't get will set me free from all the pain. Never have to feel again. Last time I did your grave, there's no one left inside. Yeah, sex like deep, it's on your forever sleep. Uno, dos, death! Uno, dos, death! Uno, dos, death! Uno, dos, death! Out the door, the count is on. Die, death, you're almost gone. You'll never know what went wrong. Uno, death is your last song.
This podcast was recorded at Red Rum Skates. Mixed by me, Jer. Music provided by Breakacre. We appreciate all our listeners and our guests. Please stay tuned until the next one. Have a great one. Bye.